Hey, pass me a beer.
Look, at least promise me you won't drink. Alcohol always leads to trouble.
Hey, who wants to play Drink the Beer?
Right here.
You win.
All right, what do I win?
Another beer.
Just have a cup of coffee.
Beer it is.
Coffee?
Beer.
I'd kill for a beer.
Cheap beer and a sympathetic ear. Step right up.
Chad, you're
Oh, are we on?
Hey.
Hey, what's
your
going
turn,
on?
Chad. Your
Oh,
turn.
I was watching the YouTube feed rather than the the broadcast studio.
Of course you do.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's
there
Wednesday, so we're back for another episode of the Beard Hops podcast. I'm Chad, and down in North Chicago is Adam and Jakey. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great, Chad. Getting ready for some Bears action.
Oh, boy.
The Packers
Already?
action. We're going to start off with
Not
that
even
right
a
away.
minute in, and we're
Moving
already
on,
talking
moving on,
this.
moving on, moving on.
I put my hat on only because I saw you were wearing the Bears hat. So,
Gosh.
oh, welcome to the show, everybody. As Adam adjusts his camera.
Yeah. Ooh,
Adam's a little under the weather tonight, but he's doing a good job acting like he feels good.
Aw.
drugs, baby, drugs.
And Jake looks about as bad as he ever does. And
I love that he kept the tradition going with that intro. Awesome. Good job, Chad.
and tonight we have the Alewives with us. This is Fury and
Test.
Karma.
Karma. I just knew it started with a K. Karma and Fury from the Alewives podcast.
That's why
That's us.
that's why we let him do the intros. He usually remembers names. I don't know what his problem is today, but
He's
No, I had-
usually
Fury.
good at articulating
I'm Karma.
last names.
I wanted to say Cammy for some reason. I'm like, that's not right.
No.
Karma and Fury. Welcome to the
that
show.
would have been funny if you would have said
Hey,
that.
thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, guys. And sorry, Chad, I interrupted you. Go ahead, finish what you usually do.
No.
No,
If you have
go
something
ahead.
special
I
to
don't-
say.
Nope. I was gonna step on your toes and do your part of the show, but go ahead.
Oh, well, before we talk about what we're drinking tonight, I'm going to show we've got new stickers.
Oh, new stickers.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So if anybody wants a sticker, let us know.
Put it back
We
up
can-
there. Put it back
Oh.
up there. I was on the big screen. There we go.
I love your cartoon logo. It's really great.
Thank you. My
That's
daughter.
pretty cute.
My daughter
Yeah.
actually drew those.
No shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
She is an amazing artist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Amazing.
and free. So
yes.
That's,
Hello, world.
that's part of all of it. Ah! There was
So
another one.
yeah, when we before we get into interviewing each other, we go around the room here and say what we're drinking. I'm drinking. I'm starting off with something fairly boring, but I've had a little over a bottle of wine already, and
Nice.
Wow.
Brittany's passed out on the couch. And
little pre-game action.
so I'm starting off with a Lakefront Pilsner, the Lakefront Pils.
Lakefront. Very nice.
Nice.
Jake's being distracted, so we'll go on. We'll go on to the wives, the wives here. What do you guys chug-a-lugging over there?
I'm drinking Trade Bait by 11 Below. It's a double dry hopped IPA.
Ugh.
It's a limited release, and the brewery is actually right down the street.
That was part of my beer haul. So Fury's taking that off my hands.
Nice.
I'm drinking Texas Golden Bock from. Oh wait, I can do this.
There we go.
From Southern Star. It's another
Nice.
local out of Conroe, just north of Houston. They make some pretty solid beers. That's a new one, and it's pretty damn delicious, actually.
I'm a
Sweet.
fan of box. That's
Yeah.
I love my box and what's the other one? The shit.
All right, cool story. Jake, what are you
This
drinking?
is
man?
what happens when I drink half a bottle of wine before I get started on the podcast.
Did you say the shit?
Doppelbock. That's what I was looking
He
for.
does.
Doppelbock.
Oh yes, a Doppelbock is excellent.
Too late. Nobody cares now. Jake.
Well, okay. I just want to preface this by saying,
Oh boy, is it a Coors Light?
no, it's not Coors Light. I was out this weekend, or
White
actually, I was
Claw?
out on Monday,
Truly.
and Beer Bazaar was
Henry's.
closed. My favorite single bottle, single can place. So I just went to a liquor store that was open, and I don't know. They had a new IPA from Goose Island, which usually I only drink
Oh,
there.
you went for the goose.
So that we can name this.
I mean, it was probably made, right next to Bud Light. I don't know.
It's fermented in a.
Jake's drinking a St. Louis beer.
It's pretty good, actually.
All
My
right.
choices were limited.
All right, I am drinking the Northeast Hero.
Oh, I almost went for that. My
Yeah.
second one tonight's.
It's their
Gonna be
newer,
Revolution.
their new Northeast style IPA. It's not bad. It's
Oh, we didn't pull a second one.
hazy as hell.
Well, we do. It's in the fridge.
Oh yeah, it's just cooling now.
Well, I have a second.
We
one, too.
always take time for beer breaks. If you want to grab
Oh,
one,
excellent.
it's not a big deal.
Always.
Requirement at this point. So yes. All right.
So,
So is everything you guys are drinking, is that all regionals?
yes.
Not
Well,
by.
Goose Island's owned by ABM.
Oh yes,
Bev,
Goose
so-
Island
That
is
one.
right.
Yeah,
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 doesn't count.
Their name is regional. They started regional.
yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, we have a
Lakefront
couple of
is
those too.
yeah, Lakefront is Milwaukee, so I'm drinking a local,
Milwaukee.
Nice.
Yes.
and I'm
Oh,
in the Milwaukee area. If you guys didn't know that.
I go
gathered
there for
when you said
work
local.
periodically.
We'll have to check
Cool.
out Lakefront.
Yeah, I'll have to go
Lakefront
there.
Oh,
is
it's great. We interviewed their owner. If you want to go back and watch that one, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, Russ
the place
Glitch.
the place is awesome.
Russ
So,
was awesome. He was, and it is probably the best brewery tour we've ever been on.
yeah,
Really?
Awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. They have
It's
a
so much
regular, and a technical, and the technical kind of gets to more of the technical aspects of brewing. So
Right.
you guys homebrew, right?
We have.
A little.
I don't
Okay.
know if I would call us
Yeah.
home brewers just yet.
That's all right. That's all right. You'll still get you'd love the technical tour then because it gets kind of into
Yeah.
it. They're hilarious, and you get a
Yeah.
drink throughout the entire tour. So you're pretty much toasty by the end of it.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
several
yeah,
beer breaks
nice.
along the
Love
way.
it.
yeah.
There was one out. I learned it was closed just this last weekend called Pedernales out in Hill Country. That the guy who did the tour was hysterical, and like he would throw tokens if you got questions right and stuff like this. And it was just this very like party atmosphere the whole time. Just this little microbrewery, but he had lots of history about beer, and it was just a really fun like educational as well as learning about the brewery. And you got more beer out of it. If you
Yeah. So
answered
a
question.
token counted for a beer.
Yeah. Mhm.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I don't know how. So maybe that's a thing that Texas does.
Yeah, I've never
There
heard
are
of
real-
tokens for beers.
Yeah, there are real weird laws, or have been up until just the 1st of September.
Yeah, they
maybe
changed the beer
changed
laws
all
on
that.
September 1st.
But
Yeah, we're aware
you
of those.
couldn't purchase a beer at the bar. You could purchase a glass, and they would give you tokens. All of them, almost all of them, used like just those round medallion like tokens. And you could go up and get tastings with the token, like free tastings. You weren't purchasing the beer
Right,
from the bar
You're purchasing the glass.
and the pieces of whatever plastic medallions, and then you
Yep.
could anyway.
Redeem them for a beer
So
at
that's
the bar.
a really common experience all throughout Texas, generally.
So now that changed as of September 1st too, with like the carryout law and everything like that.
The
right?
beer to go and all
There
that.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, it's really strange because some breweries could already do that, but it's because they had a license that was specific to brew pubs.
Yep.
And I think some of the earlier ones just that wasn't an option, or they didn't have it, or they whatever. I don't know the specifics, but yeah, I don't know if the token system will change. I feel like it'd be almost sad. It's like part of the experience now.
It's
If
part
you,
of Texas.
Fun.
you pay for entry, you get a glass, you get a token. Yeah. Or a few tokens.
Then you
usually.
accumulate tokens, and then when you find them in
Oh,
the bottom
yeah.
of your bag, you're like, jackpot.
I still have one for 512 in Austin. Not one. I have a
I have a
handful of them. It's a 512. So next time I go, I'm drinking for free. So hell yeah.
Yeah, one of our good friends moved down to Dallas, and the first time I went to visit him, we went to breweries, and you couldn't. And I'm like, well, I'm going to fill a growler and take it with me, right? Well, no, we can't do
Nope.
that. And I'm like, what the hell? So then I came home, and we all kind of deep dove into the Texas back-assward beer laws.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've talked about that several times on the show because we're like, what the hell's wrong with this?
I should go back and find those episodes, honestly, because even living here, I never delved into the specifics. I knew that
confusing.
some had a brew pub license, and so they could do crowlers and growlers and all that, and some couldn't.
It's basically geared toward the people who had the money to open up a restaurant and a brewery,
Yes.
Yeah.
pretty much. And they were fighting to keep it the same as it was so they could, keep that advantage. But
Yeah, I'm not sure even how much of an advantage it is. I feel like there was enough research to show that you're not really gaining that much by keeping other people. Like these breweries are so hyper local, right? Most
Yeah.
of them. They're just real small. They really only serve their neighborhood, not even the city. Like the city is huge. Houston is huge. So like you have, I don't know, we have upwards of 55 breweries, maybe close to 60 now, and they're all just very, very localized. Not all, but most of them are very, very localized.
Well, I mean, it's great business for to keep it local like that, not have to worry about distributorship. But as long as you've got the customers coming to pay and buy your beer,
Yeah.
keep it as local as possible.
And most of them, no, let me not speak for anybody. Many of them seem to really want that. Like that was their aim, is to build this little community in their neighborhood to serve this area.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we want to learn a little bit about you two. So let's you two pick whoever wants to talk first. Tell us a little bit about your
No, look at me.
about yourselves. Like, what do you do for work, and then we can talk beer and how you got into the Alewives podcast.
All right. I'm Fury. My actual name is Erin. During the day, I'm a site manager for a biologicals company. So we make like a fungicide, a biological fungicide. We actually have an office in Milwaukee.
Cool.
Yeah. So I do that during the day, and I usually drink beer and roller skate pretty much in my free time.
Are you the roller derby girl?
We both are, yeah.
Oh, you
yeah.
both are? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your roller derby names? Karma and
Yeah.
Fury?
Yes. Mine is Marie Fury because I started off as a scientist at my job. And
I'm Karmakazi.
yeah, so
yeah, I'm Karma.
Whoa!
Look out! Don't mess with those lights.
Malfunction.
we joked that would happen.
Yeah, we did make a joke that would happen because that seems all right. Anyway, so you have some ambient lighting.
The Bearded Hops podcast. Where technical difficulties
Yeah,
live.
that's the
It's
way
like
it goes.
special effects. I like it.
I know, right? That'll fall again in a few minutes. and
Well, my
we'll have
living room
another-
is really dark.
of another jolt. Yeah, it is. So anyway, yeah, Karma is what I go by. My name is Candace. I work in corporate relations for a university, so I help manage the relationship between the university and corporations for research and funding of all sorts here
Good
in
times.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to kind of know the origin story of Alewives.
Yeah, how did you guys get in? How did you
Yeah,
guys start a
that was the next
podcast,
question.
and how'd that all get going?
Yeah, so we met in roller derby,
Mhm.
and pretty much instantly hit it off and realized that we had a lot in common, but mainly beer at first.
Mhm.
And
Excellent.
frankly, I mean, I have a lot of lady friends who love beer, but still, it seems kind of rare, especially in the way that we both enjoy it, or to the degree that we both enjoy it. So we had that for a long time. And it all came to a bit of a head.
We were in your car.
Yes, we were in my car. We were, I don't know, going shopping or
Yeah, I
something.
think we were shopping.
And I had been listening to a podcast that was at least partially about beer. And I found myself getting increasingly frustrated, wondering why I was even listening to it. Because ultimately the beer part was really small. It was always almost argumentative. And the guy who was into beer would like start describing a beer and telling a backstory, but he would never give a lot of information. And I was like, man, that sounds really cool. I want to know more. And then it really hit a wall when they just couldn't let go of this idea of like a girl beer and like a manly beer. And it was making me crazy every time they would mention some super sweet lactose fermented fruity pastry stout
So that's
female
a girl beer.
beer.
Oh, yeah.
and
Or a cider.
Or a
something. It's
cider,
beer drink
or-
a girl drink.
Yeah, and I was just-
ladies don't drink normal beers. They just drink the fruity.
yeah,
so-
obviously. So I got so frustrated, and I think I was like yelling at you in
Yeah,
the
you
car.
kinda
I was like, I was so mad, and I was just like, I found this really. I wanted to know more about that beer because we do love it so much, and we're not in the industry, and we have a lot of knowledge between us, I think, but there's just so much. And anyway, so I'm like ramping myself up, and she finally just looks at me and is like, "We could do it better."
Yes.
And I just looked at her and I said, "Do not fuck with me." Because we could totally do this better. And so thus Alewives was born
That's awesome.
out of righteous indignation.
I love it. Yeah.
And Alewives is a fairly new podcast this year, right?
Yes.
Back in March was your first episode.
Yeah, we have 11 episodes out.
Yeah.
we're babies.
It's going good though.
Yeah.
I think so.
We're
We
not
have-
sick of it yet. So You know.
No.
It'll happen. We get sick of it. We take a couple week break, and then then we message you there like, we need to do it again. All right, let's go. We're all up.
Yeah,
We're good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we
go
do
through
it
these
every
ups and
other.
downs.
We release episodes every other week, which kind of helps us out, right? We can do a couple in a week if we have the time and we're feeling it, and then sort of backlog those.
Yep.
Which gives us a little wiggle room, I think.
Mhm.
And usually, if we're both feeling really tired and we're like, ugh, fine, whatever, let's just do this. By the time we sit down and start talking, it's just always fun again. And so it's energizing and enjoyable.
That's what we find as well. And we got to show some comments here. Denny cracked open the Houston Hazy.
Nice.
Thanks for hanging with us, Denny. And then my wife. That is awesome. I love these girls. That's my wife right there. Saying,
Hi, we love you too.
she's
Well,
watching.
to be
She's
fair-
watching on her iPhone over in the bedroom right now. So
Yeah.
Well, that's
love
cool.
it.
We can get comments.
I know, that's great.
yeah. It's a cool little feature of this whole thing we started using. So, well, that's cool. I love the idea that we can do it better. Wasn't it Central Waters, those guys? That was like their theme. They're like, we can do this better. When they started brewing, they're like, we can do better than this. And
Nice.
that's kind of the model they went by. So
No, I think it's a good place to start from.
Yeah.
And we had an idea. Like we wanted to learn, but we wanted to make it accessible for women who really don't feel that it is, because it is still so dominated. And this is going to be the conversation for a long time, but so dominated by men that it can feel really unapproachable to a woman who has been told all her life that it's a dude drink.
yeah.
And they don't really venture out into the breweries, and they don't really give them a try because it's overwhelming. I mean, when you have like 30 taps on a wall, what the hell are you supposed to do with that?
And then what they call them, you have no idea what they're talking about. For a lot of
Exactly.
people, are like, what's a IPA? What's an IPA? I don't understand what it is.
Exactly. So a lot of what our first episode was about IPAs, our first like 3 episodes were about IPAs. We kind of delved into history because there's some, myth around it. And then we talked about the style, and we tasted, and we're learning about how to taste beers and what that process is. I hear one of you are getting ready for Cicerone, right?
Adam's working on it.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I
He's got his
did the
first
beer.
level.
I did the beer server one,
Yeah, that's
Nice.
awesome.
and I'll probably spend the next year of my life studying for the next one. But
No, you said 6 months. Now it's out to a year
oh,
already.
it's gonna be.
Be realistic.
I'm the king of procrastination, so a year is good for me, right? So, yeah,
And then episode
awesome.
2, you guys talked about IBUs.
We did. So we love your
I
shirt.
booze.
The IBUs don't
I
matter.
booze.
yes.
I
That-
laughed
that's-
out loud when I saw that.
That's an early. What is it? Season 2, season 1?
Yeah.
It was one
That
of
was
those
a while back.
episodes. Yeah,
Early. That was early.
Yeah, we drank some high IBU beers, and one tasted really smooth, not bitter at all, and one was extremely bitter. And we're like, wait a second, they're both the same IBUs. Then Jake's infamous now. IBUs don't matter.
I love
So-
it. That was sort of our conclusion too. We were like, I mean, fine, look at it. Maybe it'll help you, but really,
They don't matter to the consumer. They matter for the breweries. They matter for
Yeah.
them to gauge consistency.
Like
and stuff.
quality control,
But
right?
For,
Yeah,
for
for
consumer side
consistency.
of it?
Consistency.
yeah.
But they
Consumer-
market it so much. It's
Well, because
ridiculous.
there was that huge
yeah, I agree.
IBU craze. You know, when IPAs, well, they're still big, but when IPAs are all the craze, people trying to get more IBUs, more
Yeah.
IBUs. You know, and they could put on their thing
the old
1,000 IBUs. Like that's not
It was
That's
good.
not a thing.
the IBU rush.
Yeah.
Well, Dogfish
Yeah.
had, according to Sam Calagione, he's got the highest ever at 600 something,
Uh-huh.
Whoa, look how big your IBU is.
right?
Cool, dude.
Yeah. Bet he drive a sports car too.
Sure, it's a great beer.
Backed up the truck.
Yeah.
he drives a sports car.
Is that your red Corvette out there, buddy? Huh? What are you compensating for, guy?
He probably has matching gloves and a hat with
There
it.
you go. Joey
We'll
from
eat these
Friends
words
with all the
when we-
Porsche gear.
When we finally we'll finally get Sam on the
boxes.
podcast.
Yeah.
We'll take all this back when he finally comes on the podcast. We'll bug
Yeah,
him.
we'll-
Montage of all the jokes about
We
it.
never meant it.
We didn't mean what we said, Sam.
We're just joking.
Come on our podcast, Sam. That won't happen.
So
Someday.
when did you guys start doing these these interviews. I haven't. Y'all have a much larger back catalog than we do. I wasn't able to get through everything,
skip season 1.
Okay.
Except for a few episodes where we just got completely drunk and it went off the rails.
there were
that's
episodes.
fun.
A couple
Those
of
were a blast.
Yeah, there's a couple episodes where Chad came to my house and we set my downstairs office at that time and did 3 episodes in one day and
I just got blitzed by the third one.
By the third one was just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
It's hilarious.
What was the
only
question?
done 2.
Not totally.
Oh, I
When
was
did we
just
start
wondering when
interviewing?
Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chad.
Well, it was just this season. Well, actually, it was the end of season 2.
Yeah, midway point, maybe into season 2, something like
Towards
that.
the end of season 2, we interviewed Grant Pauly from Three Sheeps Brewery in Sheboygan, and pretty much ever since then, which was back in March or April, something like that, it's been interviews pretty much every week, other than maybe a sessions or some live streams here and there. So, just this year, fairly recently, within the last 6 months or so.
How are you liking that switch up? So this is like more technical podcasting talk. Because I'm
fine.
curious.
Fine. We got sick of reviewing beers.
Yeah.
Really. We
You're
were
kind of saying the
reviewing
same
beers.
thing.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't
like,
really matter to anybody except for us.
That's what we
Yeah.
kind of realized. We kind of came to the realization, like, okay, if I label this a 4, Chad labels it a 3, and Jake labels it a 5. Who gives a shit? Like, everybody's opinion is going to be different on what this beer tastes like, and because craft beer is so regional, you're probably not going to get this beer.
Yeah.
So-
Why is somebody going to listen to a podcast about a beer they can't get about a rating they don't care about?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Well, I listened to your Greg Avola interview, and the conversation y'all had before about Untapped and ratings was cracking me up the whole time. That was pretty funny.
I still like Untapped personally. I like to track it because I forget all the beers I
Same.
have.
Right.
Yeah,
me
yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it for that reason.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
can't tell you how many times I was about ready to buy something, and then I look at it, I'm like, whoa, I had this before, and I gave it a 2.
I was so mad.
Put it
So it's
back, put it
Oktoberfest
back.
season, and Oktoberfests are one of my. I love seasonals, but Oktoberfests are one of my favorites.
Mhm.
And
Love
I went
Marzens.
to a bottle shop and I picked up one that I was like, oh, I've never seen this before. I don't even know this brewery. And I like grab it. I've had several of their beers. I had definitely
never
had
heard
this
of them.
Oktoberfest and not liked it before. But I got home and I opened it up and I poured it and I'm all excited and I drink it. I'm like, oh, God damn it. All right. Well, and if I would have just taken the 2 seconds to check Untapped, then I would have avoided buying a crap beer that I already didn't like. But
Going
yes,
going
for
to a
that,
bottle
it's great.
shop with Jake is fun because he scans everything. You walk in the door, he tipped his phone out. Yeah, he has Untapped. He says, "Boop."
Oh, I do that too, though.
It's just
I never
fun.
used
I
to
feel
scan
like I'm at like a library or something. I just like I need to like I could spend
Okay,
hours
hang
just picking
on.
out my
When's
beer.
the last time you were at a library?
Well, I took my kids there.
Right.
I didn't get anything.
I was expecting beer, but beer. I don't understand.
Before we get too far off of Untapped, Karma and Fury, do
sorry.
you want to give out your Untapped info if anybody wants to?
Yeah, the wife is asking for it.
Sure. I gotta look up what mine is.
Yeah, so you can find us. We don't actually use our Alewives one all that much, so maybe don't look at that one. But we have one that's Alewives_pod. Mine is _dice, DICE. That's my other nickname, Dice.
Alright.
So
And mine is Aaron Bagel, AARON BAGEL. That's my other nickname.
yeah, I hope she finds us. That'd be great. I should probably double check and make sure I'm giving her the right.
I think you are.
I think so too.
Yeah. I had to check.
She came in the room to sit here, and then she just ran out. I think she went to get her phone so she could.
Oh, okay. It's like, oh, where'd she go?
She won't allow me to put her
Adam,
on.
put her on
camera.
a mic. Put her on a
She
mic.
will not let me turn a camera on her at all. So.
No.
How come?
Well, mic her. She doesn't have to be on the camera. I get it. I really do. I totally
Oh,
understand.
yeah,
We were
no.
like, oh
I'm like-
shit, we're gonna be on a Oh no.
Right? That's the other thing. When Chad and I first started the podcast, we were just going to do audio, and then I started seeing all these beer people on YouTube. I'm like, we could do YouTube too. And then it's like, well, great. Now I could brush my beard and
Yeah,
put a
right.
clean shirt on.
We were just saying they don't think about this shit. Like they're not worried about. They're just like getting on the camera. So I actually
do
feel
too.
better knowing that you like groom a little.
My wife does my makeup before every show.
We gotta be
a little
presentable.
green corrector for the red
Oh,
under
shit.
the. I love it. So my Untapped is actually just the dice, like all one
No
word.
underscore.
No underscore. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to talk her into it. I'll be right back, kids. Talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, the dice.
The dice.
Yeah.
Candace, Louisiana.
Yep, that's me. I don't live in Louisiana anymore, but that's where I'm from.
And then what was the other one?
Aaron Bagel. Aaron Bagel. It's
Yeah.
my other nickname from when I was a kid.
Bagel. Yeah.
Like bagel, like the food?
Yes. Like the delicious.
What other bagel is there, Chad?
Aaron Yeagle,
That's
Houston,
me.
Texas. All
That's
right,
me.
I got you guys both friend requested. There.
Sweet. That's
Awesome.
exciting. I'm pretty proud of my Untapped at this point. When I hit 1,000, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. Now I think I'm reaching up to 1,300 somewhere.
Oh, I like your
Oh.
username.
Cadillac.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
That's really the only thing that I use Cadillac on anymore. Everything else is Wisco
Aw.
Boater, but
like it. Nice.
yeah,
Other
Untapped.
hobby?
Yeah, oh yeah, boats are kind of I spend way too much money on boats.
Uh-oh.
Untapped is I reached. You've got. Are you talking total check-ins or unique check-ins at 1,300?
Unique check-ins.
Yeah, so I'm just a little over 1,100, but I was the same way when I reached 1,000. I'm like, I've arrived.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at 664 unique beers.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
I've been doing it for pretty religiously for a while. I have a friend in El Paso who, shout out Roman Martinez. he and I met here in Houston through beer, essentially, because we both have a love for it. And it's like a competition with him. I'll never, ever catch up, but it's like, I will check in every single beer.
I always forget. I've got a list on my phone in the notes section of all the stuff that I had at the beer festival that I need to
holy
check
shit.
in.
Yeah.
It's like 30-something beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
The unique check-ins are what I really go for. If it's like this Pilsner I've had this many times. I don't check it in, but
Yeah.
it's only the unique stuff that I try to keep that number going up.
I'm like that with my Shiner. I don't really check it in every time. Oh God, if I checked it in every time I drank it. Whew.
I like Shiner. I like Shiner Bock, and
Yeah?
they've got a good Christmas ale or
Mhm.
Christmassy ale. I forget what it's called, but it's really good.
They just finished up their Ruby Redbird, which is like a grapefruit, and it's just so light and it's so good. It's like 95 calories too, so they're kind of on that low cal bandwagon, but it's still like just a good beer for sure.
Cool. I just got a message from Adam that their internet went down.
Oh no!
So
I was
hold
wondering
on a
why he
second.
had disappeared. I was like, damn, she really didn't want to be on that camera.
He's calling me. Hold on a sec.
Oh yeah.
Should
Oh,
we get
boy.
another beer while we wait?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
probably a good idea.
Beer break.
Beer
Beer
break.
break. What do you want?
We're still on.
Oktoberfest?
Yeah.
Or do you want to split the ridiculous AF?
You need to finish that first.
I'll be done by the time you get back.
Okay, we'll drink the ridiculous.
All right, sounds good. We'll keep talking, and they just took a break. to
Hey,
go
I
to
hear
the gym
him.
or something. So, okay, bye.
Oh, I like the can art with the flank.
All right, he's working on it, so he'll be back,
Sweet.
and we can just kind of hang out and chill and
Yeah.
keep talking, keep going with the interview if you want to.
Chill like Pig.
What's that?
This is
What?
it's Pig the cat. He's a giant boy. He's like, I don't know, 18 pounds. He's huge.
At least, yeah.
He's a massive kitty.
He's my buddy.
So, can I ask a really stupid question?
Please.
Can you tell me more about roller derby? Like, how physical is it? Do people get hurt?
Oh, I wish I could show you my bruises.
I was gonna
All the
say, how
time.
bruised up do
Like,
you get?
I've watched like shows about it, but I've never watched like it for real.
yeah.
I don't have any bruises currently, but I'm almost always got fingerprint bruises on my arms.
Your tailbone is
I've
currently
got
pretty busted.
I think a broken tailbone.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
At least
you-
intensely bruised.
At least
Do you
seriously
elbow?
bruised. No,
No, you're not allowed
you're not
to.
supposed to. Hey, buddy.
Does it
I mean-
happen?
Yeah, I'd have mostly accidental, not usually on purpose.
Sure, it was an accident. Sure.
It was an accident. I mean, when you're in a melee, it's really like, as you've described it, being in a
A
pinball
pinball
machine, you're just being like thrown back and forth all kind of at one time, plus trying to keep your eye on where the jammer is and where your blockers are. And, you know, so if an elbow's thrown here and there, it's kind of like, if it's egregious, it'll get called.
If it's accidental, it probably won't.
Yeah, it depends on the ref. They'll be like,
Depends on the ref.
I'm gonna let that one go.
It's very physical though. I took a long respite. I'm only just getting back because I broke my arm and had to go through a couple surgeries with plates and stuff. So it can be an intense.
Did you
And
break
that
your
wasn't
arm
even
playing?
like in a game. That was like at practice.
At practice.
So, and I mean honestly, for me, it was just mostly bad gear. But it's it's a very physical sport. It is full contact for sure.
Do you have that commercial down there that's the roller derby girls where they're talking about, you know, not drinking and driving, but they're like, drink and skate? Not going to do that. And then they show them in a car.
Idea.
Drink and drive? No way.
No,
have you seen this
I've
commercial?
never seen that.
Yeah, it's a roller
That's
derby
amazing
commercial.
though. And good advice. Drinking and skating is also a bad idea.
Yeah, no.
It's certainly been known to happen that like little pub crawls will happen on skates, but
Do you skate outside of roller derby?
you can.
No,
I do.
For like fun, we do. So we'll go like trail skating. There's a garage. I mean, yeah, sure. There's outdoor skating. People
skating
street
rinks.
skate
I just
all
go
the
and
time.
skate around the skating rink.
Yeah. But as far as your league and my league, like they're indoor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so it's also not what we skate is flat track derby. It's not bank track. So bank track is probably what you've seen in the movies where it has that, you know.
Yeah.
We actually skate flat track, so it's just like a hockey like floor.
Okay.
On quads still, but
and you still kick the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Arguably more. Because like bank track, although the hits can be really intense because there's so much momentum happening. I don't know. There's a lot more like slamming into a wall in flat track. It doesn't have to move. It doesn't have to keep moving so fast to keep on the track, you know? So you get a lot of like solid walls of
butts.
Very solid butts and backs.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's pretty demanding.
Yeah. It's really fun though. It's quickly taken over most of my life, so.
Well, Fury, if I can convince her, might try out for our local like home teams instead of just the rec league stuff.
I'm thinking about it.
I'm putting it out there for everybody so that maybe
I've got the little card here. We have a game coming up in 2 weeks on the 21st. It's our championship game. Ooh, wait, where is it?
Any Houston folks?
Houston folks.
There you go. Go check them out.
Yeah.
Go buy tickets.
You gonna pour this one up?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get our next beer.
All right, we're switching beers.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I want to smell. That is so much
go ahead
peanut
and pour
butter.
it.
Holy shit. So
Peanut
this
butter.
is
What's
a
this one?
this is a woo.
Peanut butter chocolate.
It's a peanut butter chocolate imperial, I think. Oh, sorry. It is from Saloon Door, which is a Houston brewery. This is definitely in the pastry stout category.
Yeah.
I really love peanut butter beers though. That's like one of my I really love them.
I haven't
don't
had
know
enough
why.
good ones. I've had a couple.
Here, let me finish that off.
Yeah, here.
I've had a
Where do you
really
get
good
all
one
this-
from Renegade.
Oh yeah.
Renegade? Oh,
There's a
nice.
place called the Texas Beer Refinery down south of here that does a really great like pale peanut butter lager that's incredible.
Mm.
I had one just the other day out in Hill Country from Guadalupe Brewing that was pretty good. Really strong on the peanut butter. What was great is the bartender was like, you know, this is paired really well with our blackberry mead.
Ooh.
So we got a little
Mm.
taster of the blackberry mead and like played around with like, okay, if you take a big swig of the peanut butter and just a little bit of the mead and like playing with, we should have mixed them completely, but
Yeah.
it tasted like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was insane.
Weird.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds fun.
It does
It was
sound fun.
Oh, this is the wow.
Gotta check it in.
It smells like I'm going to drink peanut butter.
Yeah, it does.
So if we come back to the Alewives podcast a little bit here,
Yeah.
when you two are, do you go out to breweries and bars together, or do you have individual experiences usually when you're going out? And if you do, either way, how do you feel in using your words earlier in going into a male dominated type of industry. How does that feel as two women going out?
We've got
Is it
stories.
getting better?
We hope that it
Yes.
is. That's why we're doing. That's one of the main reasons we're doing this diversity season.
So that's one thing we'll get back to your question, but that's one thing I wanted to actually compliment you guys on. I didn't realize that it looked like that was your aim, but I didn't realize that's really what you had decided on. But the amount of diversity and seeing so many women, and not just white women, but women of color, and like it's been really fantastic. So thank you for that. It's nice. What's a shame is that when it comes to women's issues, the fact is we need men to elevate the voices because no one's listening to women. So when there are men in an industry or whatever who step up and not just, it doesn't have to be so overt, right? It's really just normalizing voices. And I think that's what we wanted to do as a podcast, was just make it normal to hear women talk about beer. Like they know what they're talking about and like they enjoy it, or like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about and we're just trying to figure it out, like we're sort of all on this journey.
Yeah.
But as far as like in the breweries and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we both have stories of instances that I guess are both positive and not so positive.
Recently.
Yeah, the one that stands out to me, I talked about it in a previous episode of our podcast. I was at a brewery that I won't name just because.
Say it.
No, because I love the brewery.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
All right.
And I was at the bar, and I was there with my friend, and we were standing there, and I was trying to decide what to order. And they had 8 or 10 different beers on tap, and it was kind of a toss-up between like they had like a fig.
Their Figaro.
Yeah, what is that? A fig
like
Belgian
hazelnut maybe,
something?
or
I don't remember. It's something very strong, and then like a pineapple upside down cake cream ale.
Yeah, they
with
do crazy
cherries.
shit.
That sounded really good. Also,
Sounds fantastic.
it was amazing. So this random dude that's standing there at the bar was like, "Hey, hi, welcome back.
Internet's back."
Awesome.
Random guy at the bar was trying to tell me that I would like this beer because it's kind of a girl beer.
And
They
which one?
really used
Which,
the words girl beer.
It was the pineapple one that I really wanted to try. So like I was torn between, do I want
like,
to drink
"Fuck
the one that I really
yeah."
want to try, or to just give this dude like the biggest middle finger and kind of order the 12%, whatever it was.
yeah.
And I really wanted to try the pineapple one to start with.
I
so,
would have
like,
ordered it and told him to fuck off.
Yeah. Fury's way nicer than
I'm way
me.
nicer.
Where does
But
this
he
go?
did two things wrong. First, he assumed because you're a woman that you would like it, and second, he used the word "girl." See,
God.
Thank you.
That's a belittling. That's a double whammy.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
So where does this story go then? Which one did you choose, and how did it turn out?
I actually had both, but I had the pineapple one first because I wanted to, be able to enjoy it before drinking I think it was like 11 or 12%.
The Figaro's
like
it's an intense beer. Yeah.
I did have both though. Unfortunately, he was not at the bar when I ordered the big one.
So frustrating. I think one of my most recent experiences was at a beer bar, and their bartenders really know what they're doing. They're great. I was actually in a place where I was like, shit, what do I want? Do I want something malty or do I want something sour? And I couldn't decide. So I picked one from the sour and one from the malty that I was like interested in. And I ordered one of each just to see which one really called to me. And he was like, those are very different beers. And I was like, yes. Hey, I can read the fucking menu. And one says sour and one says malty. But also, like, no shit. Thanks. I don't know. I'm sure he was trying to, like, I try not to look for things to be outraged by. I don't want to just be mad and defensive all the time. But it really comes down to like tone and
hard not to.
Like how it is hard not to. But it's like, how do you approach somebody? It came from a place it felt like of an assumption that I didn't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be like, I am very well aware thanks. Could you just pour them for me? Like, I just want to taste them. Like,
Right.
fuck off.
Yeah.
I-
That reminds me of the guy at the other bar who's ordering a beer next to me. Like I was sitting at the bar and he came up next to me to order something. And he asked me while he was waiting for the bartender, why do they have so many different kinds of glasses behind the bar? And I was like, well, because different styles kind of call for different glassware. Like, just depends on what style you're getting. And 30 seconds later, he asked the bartender the same thing, and the bartender gave him the exact same answer that I gave him, and it was like it wasn't good enough. So
yeah, there is an assumption that we don't know what we're talking about. I mean, it's going to be a thing. Unfortunately, I think actually, so your question was kind of two-parted. Like, do we go out to breweries together? You're like so far out of frame.
Sorry.
Come back to
I'm
me.
sorry. I don't.
Don't leave me here.
I don't like being visible.
Sorry.
Hide me.
I think together we don't experience it quite as much, but I think that's partially because we're pretty we're focused on having a conversation with each other, and so people, there's not much of an invitation there to join in, you know?
Right.
Whereas if you're a woman alone at a bar, there's a little bit more of this assumption that there's
that's an open invitation.
Yeah.
She needs a man. That's everybody's son.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like sometimes it's great to have someone start up a conversation with you, to have and usually pretty quickly they realize that, oh, fuck, you actually know
You know what you're talking
style
about.
of
You know your
beer
shit.
Oh yeah.
or whatever. And then it becomes something we can share, but there's always that little the initial assumption is that I do not know.
Mhm.
So
It's kind of like if you only knew I've been drinking craft beer for 10, 12 plus years.
before it
Like,
was legal
before
for
it
me
was-
too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we did get my wife added here.
Yay! Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
With
ladies.
no picture.
Audio
I just-
only.
Hi,
Only?
guys.
Audio only for her. Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Boo.
Well, let's be fair. I work
Boo.
from home and I generally look very simple and plain. I've got my Under Armour workout shirt on.
That sounds so comfortable.
It is.
Pretty
It
jealous.
is. I was just gonna say though, I agree with you, ladies. It's last week Carla had mentioned, Chad had asked a question about when a woman walks into a bar, kind of what kind of makes the difference for you in terms of feeling accepted by kind of the environment, the people there. And Carla was saying that the bar back makes a huge difference in your overall experience. And I agree 100%, but I travel for work and I always try to go find breweries to go to.
Mhm.
And I am often met with the same type of response. Now, I have not been drinking craft beer as long as you. I'll have to say it took me a minute to get there.
Yeah.
But I would say probably pretty regularly for the last 3 or 4 years I've been drinking, and I've only got, just over a few, 100 or so untapped.
Well, you've been
individual-
drinking longer than
I
that.
have been drinking longer.
Beer.
But so there's
But-
no apologies necessary though,
Yeah.
right? Like
Well, but,
I think that's awesome that you've come to it at all.
Well, and it was really, it was my husband who, started introducing me to it. And I would always say an IPA, a hoppy beer, I'm using air quotes, was like my second beer. I would say, oh, that's my second beer. I have to warm up first. But I think a lot of it was a little bit of intimidation because it felt like you needed to know something about craft beer in order to start drinking it. And I really didn't understand the terms. And you talk about the glasses, I just didn't have any idea. So it was kind of intimidating at first to start drinking it because it felt very much like a man's world.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with the season 3 of Bearded Hops because they're bringing women in and they're sharing their experiences. But yeah, I love it when I go to, if I'm out traveling by myself and I go to, a restaurant to have some dinner and by myself and I'm ordering a beer and they're like, yeah, that one's a little hoppy. I'll ask about the beers and they're like, oh, that one's a little hoppy, or, that's a stout. Are you okay with that? And I'm always like,
hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring it.
I'm good. So I've just learned to be a little more assertive when I go to the bar and say, can I see your craft beer list? I need to see what's on tap. And then when they're like, oh, we have this or that, and like 3 of them are like, big beers, I always have this look on my face, like, really? That's disappointing.
Yeah.
So,
Gina,
but
you're just not known for being assertive. Just
So that's funny. I'm probably excessively assertive.
You are.
So I can relate in that I've certainly felt that I don't belong somewhere or whatever, but that tends to get my hackles up a little bit.
Mhm.
And so I tend to walk in with a fuck you attitude because I'm like, I'm gonna be here anyway.
Wait. What is hackles? What?
Hackles, like
Hackles?
like
When you
an
get-
animal who like gets their fur stands up on end or whatever. Hackles, is that a southern
I
term?
think it's hackles.
I just want some clarification because I've never heard that before. So
Yeah, I've never heard the term before. I know what the term is. I've never heard the term. But
Okay, get your hackles up, yeah.
I've heard that several times recently, and I never heard it before then, so it must be right.
I was just having speaking of regional dialect to tangent 100%. I use the word tump when talking about knocking something over. It's like if you tump it over, and that's like, it's so normal to me. And I remember saying it. It's been a few years now, and someone was like, "What?" I was like, "What do you mean, what?"
I know what
I've
that
never
word
I
heard
tumped
that
it
word.
over. And they're like, "That doesn't mean
I
anything."
know what that word means.
Yes, it does.
Your words mean nothing to me. I don't understand.
But I think it's great that you've gotten to the place where you can feel assertive. A part of what we do with the podcast, or what we hope to do with the podcast, is make it a little bit more approachable. Like explain styles, talk about where they come from, what to expect from them. Tell a story a little bit, and also share our experiences, because I think the more you hear, like the more women talk about their experiences, the more I think eventually people can't ignore it anymore. They have to realize that this is a universal experience. This isn't an anecdotal one.
And I love that you're getting really into the details. It's a recent episode, maybe it was the latest one about water.
Yeah, Fury did the water chemistry episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something
great.
that, I mean, of course, every beer has water in it, and it's something I've never really thought of. You realize that beer brewed in different parts of the world, even the United States, tastes different based on the water. And a good example is Pseudo Sue from
Sue.
Toppling Goliath. They had 2 different versions, one brewed in Iowa and one brewed in Florida.
Oh,
Not
Very
only did they
different.
taste different, they looked totally different.
Oh, wow.
but same ingredients.
Same ingredients.
That's
That's
one of our
awesome.
most watched videos on YouTube is when he talked about that still. To
I
this
will
day,
100% go back and watch that.
Yeah, I'll have to
That's
watch that one.
fascinating.
Yeah, it was really fascinating. Even from, I mean, and me doing the podcast, I couldn't believe the difference between these 2 beers side by side. I show them right side by side,
Yeah.
and the difference in taste and color was amazing. But that episode you guys talked about water was just fascinating. I've never really thought about it that deeply before.
Yeah, I never
Kudos
did
on
either.
that one.
Thank you.
Fury, yes.
Yeah, I never thought about it that deeply either, but like in high school and when I was in college, I was like, I want to do all the science things. So I was like, can I please do water chemistry? Please.
I was all about it. I was like, yeah, absolutely.
And that was actually an idea that Sydney from Southern Yankee Brewing gave us. She's like, you guys should talk about the water and how important it is.
Yeah, that may have been episode 3,
I
4.
think it was episode 3. Yeah.
It broke up our IPA
IPAs.
episodes. Yeah, we sort of kind of like you guys, although maybe earlier on, we have a format, and I love our format. We're there to educate about a style typically, but maybe something, it could, vary, but something about beer, and then taste one, but really explain like the kind of things to look for. It's like when you're looking for a beer, what might be off flavors, what's typical to a style. And then if we have someone on, we have this set of questions that I can't wait to ask you guys actually to get to our standard set. It's a really nice, like, I like that we have the same questions for everybody to get the conversation started, but we'll do that. But then we realized in our interview with Sydney, I think was when it really hit, like, it was so fun just to talk to her.
Yes.
And I think people really enjoy hearing that. Her stories were great. Her knowledge of beer is just incredible. And we kind of realized we might have to break it up and do like interview episodes and then do like some educational ones where maybe we have a friend come on and join us. Our nitro episode, I think, is a pretty fun one. We have a friend join us and we pour up a non-nitro and then a nitro version of the same beer. and talk
Cool.
about that. And that was good. We got to do the educational piece. We had to have a guest on. But when it really comes to someone in the industry, we kind of needed a whole separate format for that.
Yeah, we don't have a format. We just we
just
wing
ask
it.
Format,
questions.
you say?
We just ask
What's
questions.
that?
We talked about a format early on, and then it's quickly abandoned because we're just like,
Well,
eh.
It's
to
more
be
fun
fair,
free form, I think.
Yeah.
we did plan out questions for a while. We had, but
Oh,
I
that
don't know.
For the most part, we don't plan out questions.
But we always used to go down, tangents and rabbit holes, and it just wasn't necessary.
yeah.
Yeah, we
go
had
live and
several
then
brainstorm sessions about format.
Yeah, we did. We definitely planned out before we started. I mean, I feel like this was a pretty slapdash effort on our part, but we did have. we
Except
had
for
a
the
goal.
lighting. The lighting behind you is.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Professionally done.
Command hooks, guys. Don't trust them.
Hey, everything in our house
I was
is
gonna say,
hung by
Gina swears
command
by those.
strips. Yeah, she's muted right now.
I was gonna say,
You want to
she's
jump
still
in on
on
this
it.
command hook? Go ahead.
I
girl.
know.
I just hung these like
Yeah, where did she
at
go?
6:30,
Uh,
so they're already falling
Hey, there
down.
you are.
Yeah, so command hooks is our. Here's the story behind that. So really, here's what it
Well,
is.
everything behind me is command strips.
Command
Yes.
Except for the shelf.
No.
Yes, everything is. I
Teach
learned
me
how
your
to-
magic.
Yeah, I've learned how to be very creative with how you cut them and where you place them, especially like on these letters that are kind of, like they're not flat. They kind of have this ridge to them.
Yeah.
But what it amounts to is that I hate putting holes in the wall because I hate having to go back and fix them because I kind of have this like sensitivity towards OCD, towards holes in the walls, little holes even.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I discovered command strips, I don't know, many years ago before we moved into this house. But what you should know is that if you have a membership to Costco, about twice a year, they put their command strips on this instant rebate and you can get like
My God.
32 sets of them for like $12. And so it's like the
Nice.
best deal ever.
This is amazing.
Good to know.
Yes, yeah. I
It doesn't
should take you
last very
around.
long in this house.
No.
I will tell you though, I did try to hang a full length wall mirror that
Oh,
probably
no.
weighs.
Oh no.
Yeah. So even though like the black command strips say that they can hold up to like 12 pounds and you try
They
to
never
put like
can.
multiple on that, it fell. So that you actually
Oh.
can't.
And
hang
there are
command
huge
strips.
holes in the wall.
But I
and
tried.
to
I
hang it,
tried.
and it didn't work. So
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
And this-
God.
This comes up everywhere. I had Adam and Gina on my boat back earlier
Yes.
this year or last year, and I was talking about at the helm. I was like, man, I need some place to put, I've got a cup holder, but I need some place to put some stuff, like a glove box. And down in the cabin, I need a bin. And she goes, oh, well, what you need is command strips. And Adam's like, oh, here we go.
Right? See, I just put in
But-
this wiring for you can plug in your phones on different sides.
You need a sponsorship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
I was
lighting.
I was like, you need a little thing like to put your phone in there when you plug it in to like hold it, command strips,
Yep.
everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
in
I
my
put up
house.
I put up the LED lights with command strips. I put up a
Right.
bin in the cabin with command strips.
Yes. And they're lasting on the boat?
Yeah, so far, yeah.
Okay, that's a
Wow.
great endorsement of
Yeah.
command
Impressive.
strip.
Yeah.
These are supposed to be indoor outdoor ones too. I don't know why they didn't stick to my wall. So I don't know what's going on.
hey, what's up, beer ambassadors? Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
Hi.
Yeah, so everything's
Let's see.
command strips. How did we get on command strips? What happened? I don't even know.
The
I don't know. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like,
man,
yeah,
that's what
our
it is.
technical,
Yeah,
our
but-
technical difficulties.
How the heck? Yeah, Beard House
So we're
podcast.
actually-
Technical
I
difficulties.
think we updated you guys on our beer change.
Yeah, the
Did
peanut
we?
butter one, right?
Yeah,
It's really good.
Saloon Door Ridiculous AF is what they call it. It's a peanut butter chocolate Russian Imperial Stout. And I know I just like badmouth pastry stouts, and here we are.
Is it
This
ridiculous as fuck though?
It is sweet as fuck for
It is
sure.
super sweet,
So
and
sweet.
it's at an 11.8%.
That feels kind of low.
It feels kind of low.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Jake,
to
Jake,
take
you have
in.
no comment to that? That's at 11% low. Jake, anything?
I mean, that's sessionable, right?
I think I'm in
Totally.
love.
Totally. It's totally sessionable.
Yeah.
for like 20 minutes.
Right. Right.
That's Jake's
Totally agree.
sessionable level.
That's a starter. That's
Yeah,
your first beer. You
Starter.
stretch out, warm up on that. Yeah.
It's our
Really get the
third.
party going.
Oh god, it's our third.
Is this our third?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our third. But we split this one. I could never have had that whole
No
can.
way.
I'm glad we shared that.
Mhm.
Well,
I think there was a time, talking about no, fuck it. I want to ask you guys questions.
oh boy,
Oh.
tables are turning.
Let's flip the script.
All right, well, we're drinking the Midwest Hero now. We went from the Northeast Hero
nice.
to Midwest
Yes.
Hero, different IPA from Revolution.
Oh, that's a
so.
really cool can art. I really
Yeah,
like that.
they have a whole hero series. Well, there we go. They have a whole hero series at
Here's a
Revolution.
this is regular
Huge
anti-hero.
series.
yeah,
I
they
just
have
switched over to
it's the
anti-hero.
anti-hero. So.
Anti-hero started it all.
Yeah,
Nice.
anti-hero is the first. Yeah.
And I think that the Midwest one's my favorite out of the series.
Well, I still
Yeah.
have the Northeast on my taste bud, so it'll take a little bit to.
What
I'm not a
brewery
huge
is
fan
that?
of IPAs.
Revolution. out of Chicago.
Revolution.
Up there. Okay, I'll have
Chicago,
to get that
yep.
next time I'm in Milwaukee for work.
Oh man,
Oh yeah,
get it.
they
Okay.
all their beers are
All their beers
Phenomenal.
Are good.
Okay. Revolution.
I'm
Jake
not,
loves-
not the only one who
I'm
has a
gonna
hard
write
time
that
with the
down on your
camera.
I was like, I can't quite. It's almost here.
Fine.
It's here. Ah, fuck it. Yeah.
Google it if you want to see it. Damn it, I don't care.
Yeah,
What's
they've
Gina
been top
drinking?
3 for me for a while.
She's drinking the same thing. She has her own.
If we
All
could
right,
see
nice.
her,
She
we
grabbed
would
it.
know.
All right. Yeah,
Oh, look,
good job.
Narm.
Hey, there's
Yes.
Narm.
Hey, Gina, pop your head over just to say hi.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
This is
Come
just
on.
Just
She's checking herself real quick.
Here we go.
Hi.
She
Yay.
really is there.
But what was funny, you didn't see before, is she's like, and then she comes.
love it.
But not really, just a little bit. Just because I was laying in the bed with the dogs prior to this, so who knows what kind of dishevelment I'm actually look like, So
Yeah.
You
you
look
ladies
great.
at least look presentable, look nice and chill. These guys are all in hats, and I've got the hair pulled back.
We're
Again,
both like,
workout
oh
gear
shit,
on.
we're gonna be on video.
Yeah, that's right. Because you guys don't do YouTube, right?
No, we
No.
don't. No.
Is-
I'd
is-
like
No.
to not have a face.
Not have a face.
You could wear a wrestling mask, one of those,
Oh, yeah, just a paper bag.
Luchador.
paper bag. There you
Don't
go.
do paper
Is
bag.
that what
Some
Astros fans did for a long time?
Yeah,
Isn't that what Astros fans did for a long time?
Oh, I have
Wore
no
paper bag?
idea.
Or was that Saints fans? Oh, I'm getting my
Saints
state.
did
Lions
that.
Yeah, I
fans.
think it was-
Lions fans did it for a
Okay.
long time.
Yeah, I think Saints
Browns
fans did
fans.
that. For
Packers
a long time.
fans should still do it, but they don't. Sorry, had to. Sorry, had to. Sorry.
Oh.
Moving on. What was your question?
Okay, so we have our standard set of questions.
Okay.
And so I asked this of all of you individually, so you can pick who goes first. But the
Chad.
first question
Chad.
we like to ask our guests is
Reminds me of Toy Story.
what
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's holding his arm, I was like,
Yeah,
"Whoa,
it was
what's
a Toy
going
Story
on?
scene.
Hey, buddy, super secret
That's very
handshake.
true.
so what is your favorite beer? And before
Ugh.
I know, everybody hates that question. So I want to make a caveat to that. I don't mean the best beer you've ever had. I'm not talking about what's your current. I want to know what is your
Go to.
yeah, the one that has, if you're going out on your boat for an afternoon and you just want an easy 6-pack and you're going to, exactly what you're going to go grab off the shelf. And it does not matter what it is at all. But what is that beer? What is the one that just really speaks to you? Oh, Poppy. Sorry, I distracted.
Never mind the question.
Puppy.
The puppy's on the screen.
Hey, my pig is right here.
Yeah,
That
what
is-
is that for you guys?
that is-
What's the one?
Well,
It's a really hard question.
That's a very, very hard question. Go ahead, Chad.
Well, I would say, a pretty for just something that's to throw on the boat or have in the refrigerator all the time. I probably would lean towards, which you guys can't get it there in Texas, but it's Three Sheeps Fresh Coast.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
just
that's
a
a good
pale
one.
ale. It's so easy drinking. It's 5.2 or 5.4, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's really good, and
Can always get it.
it's not a special release or anything. They always make it. So in fact, there's a can of it right up there.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be my answer, I think, for
Yeah, it's
the
perfect.
go-to beer. It's not my favorite beer overall, but that's probably one I would just, if I'm just gonna go grab something real quick, Fresh Coast
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Three Sheeps.
Perfect. Mine's
Oh, I'm gonna
Shiner.
write
Just
all of these
FYI.
down.
Like that's like
Which Shiner,
that's
though?
mine.
Just
Shiner
regular
Bock is my.
Shiner Bock?
Just regular
my
Shiner
shit.
Bock?
Yep, just regular. I
Yeah.
like most of their not all of their iterations, but like Shiner Bock that's my shit. I will
We
pick
got-
up a 6-pack of that all the time.
We got a variety pack of their. Was it lime,
oh,
cherry?
God damn it. That's going to be in my head forever.
Right?
now.
Lime, cherry, something? Yeah. Oh, God.
I'm sorry. Continue, Adam.
Sorry, we got on Gwen Stefani there.
Now,
for a
now I
second.
got a hollaback girl in my head. I don't know if I can continue at this point. No, we got a Shiner variety pack that had like a lemonade version, right? And a cherry version.
Oh no.
And something
I'm
else.
trying to think of the cherry. They had a lime one. And they had a grapefruit.
They have a lime and salt one that Gina really liked.
Yeah, it's all right.
But we picked those up for like this summertime. But
Yeah, it's something different. I would say they're not. I mean, they make Shiner Bock, and it's great.
yeah, that's the one they do good. I mean, we get it up here too, so it's always
Their Shiner Black is actually exceptional. I mean, just from a personal standpoint.
Is it
but like
Yeah.
black IPA, black lager?
it's not. It's just a black lager, like or a black ale. Like it's a lager. It's a black
I don't
lager.
know.
if we only had a device that would tell us what it.
I know.
If we could only
there's
look
there's
that
no way to
shit
figure this out
There's
right
no
now.
way to figure this out. We'll have to call Shiner
I got
directly. And
nothing.
Jake, what's your favorite?
Hey, we've
Jake?
done that on podcast before.
We have called a brewery.
Have you really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was season 1.
Oh man.
Well, we were drunk.
We were drunk.
bet.
Yes.
Yeah, black lager. There we go.
All right, go ahead, Jake.
I don't have a favorite sessionable beer. I guess it's a moving
You have
target.
to pick one. You have to pick
Moving
one.
target.
It's a
on
It
moving
it.
doesn't have to
target.
be sessionable. It just has to be your go-to.
Well, if I was doing something like to be presentable, like Slightly Mighty, I've been drinking a lot lately.
Yeah. it's
Okay.
a movie.
But if I was just drinking what I want to drink, and it's like not too terribly hard to get, it's another one called Revolution. It's Death Star. It is a barrel aged oatmeal stout.
Ooh.
I think it's easy to drink, and it's not of all of their sort of Deadwood series. That's the easiest one to get. So that one never does me wrong. You know, it's always good.
It's easy to drink because it's so good.
Is it the
So
Deadwood
good.
series? Because there was a little bit of a question in that Deadwood series.
And an oatmeal stout.
Yeah, it's an oatmeal stout. It's
that's nice.
it's fantastic. Yeah, I believe they call it Deadwood Chad. Their barrel aged series that they do in the fall, and they release like 2 a month from. I want to say it's from September all the way till January, February the following year. I'll check it out, but that's like the most basic one, and then a lot of the other ones are variants of that. I would say.
Yeah, like some barrel aged or
Sort of.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
But God, I love that beer. We popped it open recently on a podcast, and we hadn't had it for a while, and it was just like, holy shit, where have you been?
Yeah. A nice reminder of, oh yeah, I fucking love this.
Exactly.
So Adam, what's yours?
I'm deferring to my wife right now because I'm still thinking.
Well, yes, Gina, what's yours?
Here's just real quick. Here's the can of Fresh Coast. It has
Fresh
boats
Coast.
on it.
That's
Oh,
perfect.
okay,
I mean, it's
yeah.
on brand.
It's totally appropriate.
I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm actually like a seasonal drinker. So what I go to like during the summertime, like an easy go to, which I'll always have in the refrigerator, is like the Voodoo Ranger or Bell's Two Hearted Ale. I love hazy
Ooh, I like that
IPAs
one.
in late spring and summertime. I will drink them all the time. When it gets into this time of year, I can't remember who said it earlier, but I'm all about the Oktoberfests. I
Yes.
absolutely love it. In fact, this past weekend, I said everybody needs to drink up the beer fridge so we can bring in all the seasonal beers. So there will be
Boom.
some.
Did you hear that, Jake?
You know,
That was an invitation. Drink up the beer for
I told him, grab something.
Jake lives
We're drinking
across
up
the street from
beer.
them, just so you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
To
okay.
do that with Fury's fridge soon.
Oh yeah. I have a
Yeah.
beer fridge full of really, really, really special stuff that my dad collected for years.
Aw.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's some Deschutes, the Abyss that's
Oh, yeah.
in there from
I think
Oh wow.
2009, 10, 11, 12 that may or may not taste like.
Well, I mean, I think we have a bit of a
We have a little
'Cause-
vertical thing
yeah,
down there.
because I have the last like
Yeah.
4 years maybe or
Yeah.
3 years of the Abyss.
So- Okay, so you've got this beer that's that old.
Yeah.
How long are you going to wait till you drink it?
We're gonna drink.
We're not
it.
going to wait much longer.
We're not gonna wait much longer.
What's happening?
Because I know Chad said there. Every time he opened the fridge, he'd be like, "I gotta drink it now."
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I have a problem.
Well, so Fury's dad collected.
My dad collected all of this stuff, so like when he passed away, we kind of were like, "Well, I don't want to drink
Yeah, he
it, but
just
I
hoarded
kind
it.
of need to drink it, but I don't want to drink it, but I need to drink
Yeah,
it."
I get that. Yeah.
So we're gonna have a beer fridge clean out party, and we're gonna drink it. It may taste
That's an
like shit.
idea.
It may taste like
Yeah.
vinegar. It may taste like shit. I don't know.
I don't know the
I bet
Abyss.
it'll be
We're
good.
gonna see.
What kind of beer is it?
It's
Yeah, I
the
think
Abyss.
it's gonna
It's
be
like
Abyss.
good.
We've had the Abyss.
Thing.
They
We
do
have-
like
He's
it's all barrel aged.
2009, 2010, 11, 12.
And then I have like 16, 17, and 18, I
we've
think.
got most of
Is it the
yes.
bourbon series or? Yeah,
think
because they do
so.
bourbon, rye, tequila.
Oh yeah, you'll be fine then. If it's
rum.
bourbon barrel aged, you're fine. It'll stay.
Yeah.
I bet that'll be
But-
really good.
Yeah.
My dad had bought from the gas station around the corner that was going out of business one of those ice machines, like the outside with the glass door. He had got one of those and converted
back.
it. Yeah,
Continue
go,
telling
go.
your story.
He cut a little hole in the side and put a little portable window AC unit to keep it at a controlled temperature in my parents' garage. So we've been monitoring. It's
so
been
funny.
maintained at a temperature, so like it may still be okay, but I don't know. Some of it's going to be really old. So,
That's awesome though.
That's an ingenious way to do it.
Oh yeah, no, it was
Yeah,
great.
That's
It was
hilarious.
great.
I got a
So-
window air conditioner. Let's shove it in this freezer. It'll work.
It's literally like this big. It's like 2 foot by 1 foot.
Oh, a
little
small
AC
little one.
unit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
little bitty, and I mean it's kept it at a pretty constant temperature. We've got all kinds of good stuff in there. Stuff that my uncle used to travel for work, so he would send us stuff and bring us stuff back. He brought us stuff back from the brewery in California before we
Oh,
could
the
get
brewery,
it
the
here.
brewery.
Yeah, the brewery. The brewery.
Right. The brewery.
With the
Which
U.
one?
The U.
Yeah, yeah. I
Brewery.
know what you're talking about.
My dad had pre-ordered some Black Tuesday, and he had brought it back for us. And he had made some ice cream with chocolate rain at one point. So like we had all this really hard to find locally stuff in this refrigerator. So we're gonna
That's
have
really
a little
cool.
beer tasting party.
That's cool.
Hopefully, it doesn't all taste like shit.
I really think the barrel aged ones you'll be totally fine with.
I think so.
Absolutely.
They're all wax sealed, and they're all still
yeah.
intact.
Then you're
and
totally fine.
It's all dark and cool.
Yeah.
Even though it's in a garage in Texas, we've still got the air conditioner going. I think it'll be all right.
Man,
Fingers
that'd be
crossed.
cool. Yeah.
We'll definitely log it on Instagram, Untapped, Facebook, everything.
You
All
should
the-
do a
all the
podcast.
socials.
You should do a podcast of the
Oh,
vertical.
that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. And we're going to do that.
Yeah. You should
I'm going to write that down.
Because that's
We-
a long vertical. I mean, if you've had
Yeah.
stuff back to 09,
Yeah, I think we have one bottle of 08.
oh my God, that would be,
Abyss.
that's, I
The
mean,
Abyss.
10, 11 years of a vertical.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd
That'd be really
an
cool
awesome
to definitely
podcast.
see how the taste would change over that period of
Yeah.
time. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to hear about that.
Well, we will record it.
Definitely.
Put it on
What's
the podcast.
What?
The
The vertical?
The vertical. Yeah,
yeah.
you got
The
to.
Abyss.
10 years of vertical?
Yeah.
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 We should
Do
do
it.
that. I mean, there
We're
might
gonna
be a bit of a gap, but still.
I think we're missing 1 or 2 years in
Yeah.
there, but I mean, really, who cares?
When you're talking
Uh,
10 years, though, that's
Right.
I mean, we have a 2000. I think I actually have a 2009 in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah?
We
Shit.
drank one at New Year's.
We did. Oh, that's right. We did.
Yeah, it was really good still.
So, Gina, I
We've
feel
all-
like we kind of derailed your answer of Oktoberfest, which that was me, by the way.
I need
I
another beer.
fucking love them a
BRB.
whole lot. So after Oktoberfest, what is your seasonal favorite?
Yeah, so and actually I was looking at it Untapped at what my highest rated Oktoberfest was, and I really like the Great Lakes Brewing, even over Sam. Well, it's kind of a close compare to Sam Adams. But then when Christmas time, like, once it gets, I'm very seasonal oriented. So once we get past Thanksgiving, then I'm totally into like more spiced beers. And actually, Sam Adams makes this beer called White Christmas that is a limited release. You can get it about a week prior to Thanksgiving. That's phenomenal. And we will literally buy out the store with White Christmas.
Nice.
Because it has just
We've
enough
done it a couple
spice.
times.
Yeah. It has
really
just
don't
enough
doubt
spice that it doesn't feel overpowering. It's not quite a sipper beer, but it's not one that you're going to drink too quickly. And so I'll usually carry that through the first of the year. And then after January, then I will go into just really any of the darker beers. And
She's so on a schedule. It's just
I love it though. I'm honestly a lot the same way. Like
Okay.
summertime, I get it really into the gozas, and that has been like
yes.
huge this year, which is great. So like a little bit of lime and some brine, like some salt, and I am, oh my god, I'm so on board. Like for months.
So Bridget Brewing is these guys did a podcast with Trent, who does Bridget Brewing, and he has a cherry goza that is phenomenal, and they have it on tap at this cute little place where Chad docks his boat for the season.
Nice.
It's called Sammy's, and it is
Sunnies.
Sunnies,
Okay.
and it is the best goza that I've had. So that is definitely it's just a light, refreshing beer.
I'd like to hear that.
These guys are going to brew with him in October. So I'm super excited for that to see
Look
what
at
they
that. She's
decide
already
to do.
So
she's
exciting.
promoting for us.
Yeah.
Hey, no, that's really cool. I love that.
Yeah. So, and then, once we get past Christmas, then I'm not like I'm over the spice stuff, but then I just kind of want a nice, easy drinking beer. And you guys are talking about like barrel aged stuff. And I absolutely love the barrel aged stuff. Like when these guys open up the Death Star and
All of it.
the Three Sheeps, the Wolf, like all of these ones that are higher, real like barrel aged. I absolutely love them, but I can only do like a 5-ounce pour of them because I don't even know how you guys are splitting that pint can that you have there, because I would be totally gone by now.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but I love those, and I just love to sip on them. So, again, I'm more of a seasonal person. What you're going to find in the fridge when we go to Woodman's and we go into their glorious beer section, definitely there are certain ones that I'll grab each season, and we will always have them on hand. But the worst place to take me is Binny's, because when we go into Binny's, I'm just like putting stuff in the cart because it's like
I love his faces.
craft beer overload. And
It's hilarious because it used to not be this way with her.
Yeah.
She used to just be a Coors Light, Miller Lite girl. That's it. And that was all.
I find that that's the case for, well, really most people with beer, period.
Right.
But with women especially, it's like, whatever. If it's there, that's what you're drinking. At some, like, I grew up on crawfish boils. And so it was Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light. That's what you had. Like, that's what you drank. It wasn't until college that I started to, like, learn about craft beer. And it just totally opens up a whole new world. And I love that you've sort of embraced that, and that you've embraced seasonals, because I think they're really underrated. Everybody wants like they're just standard one beer, and again, I have mine, so no judgment, but like saisons are when it's saison season, I'm
Stand back.
losing my mind. I'm so excited. I want all of them. I want to try every single one of them. And my favorite part is that you never know what you're gonna get. Like, who the fuck knows? Yeah. Every saison is so wildly different from the next. And so ideally it's very regional. So you get like a taste of the area too, very specifically, like, and I love that.
Well, and you can do that with all the seasonal beers. So a
For
few
sure.
years ago, my best friend, so these guys were talking about our friends that moved down to Dallas, but my girlfriend Kelly, we were on this Oktoberfest kick, and I was not using Untapped at the time. I wish I was, but we would go in, and everywhere we would go, we must have tried, no joke, 20 different Oktoberfests fall season. And it's a lot of fun just to be able to taste them. And I really appreciate the places like the bottle shops where you can go and you can buy just one bottle or one can of it to try it, to see if you like it, and then to commit to a full 6-pack or 12-pack of it. So
that's my favorite.
Beer fridge
Bottle
with all
shops
these
are the
leftover
best.
6-packs that nobody wants to drink.
I love buying singles.
Yeah.
Build your own 6-pack.
Fortunately, I mean, I don't know if it's like this everywhere. Texas does, like in the grocery stores, there's a singles section. So you can get like a build your own 6-pack out of a certain area, but if you want to just buy one, you can just buy one.
Yeah, usually there's places around here that will do that, but usually what you find is the single can or single bottle section is like older leftover shit.
Yeah, I will say
it's
I've
not-
run across that a couple times.
Yeah, so there's one by Jake and I Beer Bazaar that we absolutely love because everything in the store you can break apart and take a single. Like
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh,
matter.
that's
if it's in the
nice.
cooler, it doesn't care. You just grab it and you break it
Yeah.
off. And
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's perfect. So
Yeah, when I went to visit my brother in Indianapolis, they had a bottle shop that was, they had everything in a 6-pack or a 4-pack or however they sold it, and then they had it in singles and it was fresh.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anything in the store you could buy as singles, except for a handful of things. It was really great because we were
That's
only
really
there for like
nice.
3 days.
Yeah.
I was like, I want one of this and one of this.
Yeah,
and
just
one
try
of this, one of this.
everything.
yeah, you can get the variety of everything. And then what happens with us a lot is we'll buy a 6-pack and then she'll drink one, I'll drink one, and then we never go back and touch it. And then we have this.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course, right.
Yeah,
it
beers in our
wasn't
fridge.
exceptional.
Four
It
more
wasn't
to
interesting.
go that you're
And then
never
we
gonna drink.
still
say, Jake,
have-
walk across the street and take these
Yeah, I was gonna
beers."
say. Then Chad and Jake come over and clear out the fridge.
I'm
Pretty
so
much.
scared. I still have so much peanut butter. in my
It
mouth.
works out great for me.
Sorry, we're switching beers. Sorry.
All right,
Yeah,
what are we
I
switching up to?
Lost track. Fury just
Um,
opened.
903 Brewery's Cinnamon Roll Stout. It's from a series called Down with the Pastryarchy. It's from 9. It's really good. It's got a nice little cinnamon,
I haven't
but
tried
it's
it yet.
not the spicy cinnamon. It's like the cinnamon roll
The sweet-
cinnamon.
I don't
Yeah.
Well, that I've had a
Whoa.
cinnamon roll beer.
That
That's
smells straight up like a cinnamon roll.
Yeah, it does. It's not as sweet as that last one, I don't think.
I haven't even had that many pastries, so I don't even know if I've had one pastry.
No,
stout
it's
at
not
this
as
point in
sweet. No, that has a bite to it.
Yeah.
That's actually nice. This isn't a pastry stout. Well, it is. But not in the way that our previous one was. That was honestly too sweet for me. That
was.
I'm really
sweet.
glad I bought a single of that ridiculous
Yeah,
ale.
that'd be weird if that was not a pastry stout.
No,
and
it's definitely a pastry
called
stout.
pa-
But it
Right,
has
it's
like
called
a
that.
Down with the Pastryarchy.
it has a bite to it that the last one did not. So I don't know where we are with that.
Oh, I
but-
did not realize that they have strong women at the helm. That's what.
Oh, very
Yeah.
nice.
Awesome.
It's run by women. I
Say
didn't
that
realize
because we should
that.
talk to them.
We need to call them.
Yes.
Sherman, Texas. Where's that?
I don't know.
All right. Well,
Sherman?
Texas is a really big
Sherman.
state.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. It's a little-
Sherman.
Like it takes an hour and a half to get out of Houston.
Dude.
So
Texas is massive.
yeah, it's pretty big.
Dallas is 4 hours drive.
Yeah, I went to El Paso in March,
Was it 9
April.
hours? 10
Ooh,
hours?
12.
12?
almost.
Really?
Yeah, it's El Paso.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean it's like
Damn, Jesus.
it's
a
12
8 or
hours
9
in the state?
Yeah, in the state. It's 8 or 9 hours to Marfa, and then Marfa's another couple hours. From
I've never
El
been
Paso.
out that way. I've only flown that way.
Yeah,
I
don't
drove
know.
through Texas once, but I was drunk the whole time, so I don't remember how long.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
The one time that I drove from here, we're in the bottom right corner of Texas. I drove up through, we were going to visit my sister in Colorado, so we went up through Albuquerque. So was it
Nice.
Amarillo? No.
Yeah. That's more towards
I
Colorado.
don't know.
So you probably would have gone
We went
through,
this way.
Like Amarillo
got
is here,
you.
Lubbock is here. So you probably went through Lubbock?
Yes, Lubbock.
Yeah, you went through Lubbock.
We
Okay.
left before dawn, and the sun was starting to set before we left Texas.
Y'all, it's big out here.
It's huge.
It is.
You said y'all.
You did say y'all.
I've heard a
Yeah.
couple y'alls so far.
No doubt.
Are you two now? Are you from? Karma. You're from Louisiana,
Yes, I'm from Louisiana.
and Fury. Where are you from then?
Okay. So my parents are
I
from
feel a story coming.
It's not really a story. My parents are from Pennsylvania. All my family's from there. I was born just outside of Cleveland. We lived in Georgia. Then we lived here. So I don't like to say I'm from here because I'm kind of
Kinda
from
here.
up there.
Where'd you live most of your life?
Well, most of my life now is here. Just
Well,
because
now.
I'm old now.
Yeah.
But my formative years were in Georgia.
Okay.
Up until I was 5.
We're at in
So-
Georgia.
Augusta?
Oh, nice.
Masters territory.
Yeah, exactly. My dad had a funny story about the Masters.
What?
Everything's boating or golf with you. That's really what-
Yeah.
That'd be Mass's territory.
They have boats. They have boats there. They have water. They have boats. Is there boats there?
There's golf.
Genie tugboats.
They have a tugboat. Anybody tugboat?
They don't. They don't have any idea what.
No,
It makes it even
funny.
funnier.
It's still funny.
Search
Yeah.
Wisco boater.
Yeah, search up Wisco Boater. Chad built a tugboat. That's what he did.
A mini tugboat.
Mini
mini-
tugboat.
a mini
Let's be-
tugboat.
Mini tugboat, yeah. not big.
Really?
I mean, only to interrupt briefly, but I just opened my new one. I have cameras. I can work them.
That one,
It is
Oktoberfest. There you go.
Arnold's.
I hope
Oktoberfest.
it's better than the last one that we had.
It's perfect.
okay.
It's not sour at all.
We opened a can of this
A can.
for our last but yet unaired episode.
We talk about Oktoberfest and
We're talking
Marzens.
about Oktoberfest, and the can tasted
It was sour.
so bad.
It had soured.
It was so
I don't
bad.
know why. I don't know what happened. It wasn't old. Like it actually had a date on it, which is so refreshing, and it wasn't out of date.
Yeah.
I don't know what was. It was sour for sure.
Rod J, if he's still there, he would appreciate you saying that. He was on one of our other podcasts, and that's what drives him nuts about craft breweries that don't put dates on cans.
That's like all of them, though, isn't it?
I mean, up here quite a few of them do.
Yeah.
Like a brewed
This
on
has a
date.
date.
Can you see
Yeah.
this? I'm sharing my screen. Can you see this?
Nope.
No.
Why does that not work?
I don't know.
I
Why'd you
see
share your
nothing.
screen?
My can has a date on it of January 16th, 2019.
My bottle doesn't, but the cans
Yeah, mine
usually
doesn't.
do.
This one was 6/6/19.
Are you sharing your Wisco Boater crap? Is that what you're doing?
I was going to share my tugboat, but it's not showing.
I want to see it.
Well,
So, Adam,
Send me the link. Yeah.
what
that's
is
me.
your beer of choice?
Oh,
so
We got
almost
so off
impossible.
topic.
I know. That was like 20 minutes ago. Like,
Sorry, we're bad about that.
We are really bad about
that's okay.
that.
So are we.
Look at this
uh,
cat.
I'm sorry, guys. Did you just see massive beer reviews?
No.
Jake, Chad, Jim Furyk for the
Oh.
win.
Yes.
Thanks for stopping
Nice.
by, Massive.
that's awesome.
I mean, this kind of summer, Slightly Mighty has been always in our fridge.
Okay. Yeah.
Dogfish Head, Slightly Mighty.
Uh-huh.
What's that other one by them?
Oh wait, I have one of those sitting right over
Yeah,
there.
you do.
Yeah. It's easy.
Yeah, it was good for the beach.
So I had a birthday thing out at the beach in July, a month late.
I totally brought the variety pack with that in it, and it was really good.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
perfect.
it's an
that
easy-
and like Sequench is
Sequence. That's what I was trying to think
Very
of.
good.
Yeah.
Very good.
so good. It's so
I like
good.
the Super 8.
The Super 8 was amazing.
The
I really
berry
thought it'd
one.
be way more sour, but it was
I
like
loved it. I
yeah.
don't like that like kind of sour,
That
but I
style.
bought a whole
Yeah.
box of that.
No, it was
Almost
amazing.
expected
It was
that.
so well balanced. It was a beautiful, beautiful beer for sure.
Mhm.
Just a hint of sweet and just enough sour and brine and like fruit. It was great. They did a really good job.
Yeah, and Gina did just remind me. I've been really into brewed IPAs too.
Oh, so I was y'all's interview with the Beer Babe or yeah, right, the last one.
Yeah, Carla.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. So you mentioned Brutes, and I kind of loved it because everybody's hating on Brutes right now.
Everybody
you
hates
love
on them. I
them.
don't get
Everybody
it.
hate.
You love them.
I don't like IPAs. IPAs are not my thing. I don't drink them. I will try every one of them. I will hate all of them. No, not all of them. I'll hate 90% of them.
90% of them.
And then there's like 10% where I'm like, yeah, all right, fine. But Brute IPAs, not all of them, again, but more likely.
There's his boat.
Now that's not the boat that requires a glove box, but
Yeah, that's the mini tugboat, the Neptune.
Neptune tugboat.
Wait, is it NEPTOON?
Yep.
NEP apostrophe TOON.
Oh, that's the cutest little tiny.
And he
boat
pretty much
ever.
built that out of his garage over the winter. So
Yep.
Look how little.
It looks like it barely holds 2 full-grown adults.
Barely.
I've had 4 people in at one time.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
Was it taking on water?
No.
exactly right. Yeah.
Get the bucket.
That's the greatest.
We're going down, Chad. We're going down.
It's amazing.
Well, thank you. It was fun. It was fun to build.
That's pretty awesome.
He'll build you one too if you ask him nicely. I'm
I
just
couldn't
joking.
build a
my-
boat.
He
just
refuses.
saying.
I'll build you a boat.
It only cost you like 10 grand.
Want a
Oh,
tug of
that's
your
it?
own? I'll build you a tug.
That falls right in line with our good head jokes on like every episode.
Our good
ever.
what?
Good head jokes.
Oh, our good head jokes.
Yeah, we can't stop ourselves. We're like children.
We're like 12-year-old boys.
it's,
Pig, no.
it's impossible to go through the.
Sorry, he's
Yes.
eating the lights.
She did just say pig. No.
Yeah, I heard
That's
pig.
hilarious.
No,
Your
all
cat's
right,
name
well,
is Pig.
look,
Pig.
if Pig chews into the lights and gets shocked, it'll make for great YouTube material. So you're fine.
Oh, but
It'll
he's
definitely be a viral
my
episode.
favorite.
It'll be a viral episode.
Oh,
Cat
that
chews
handsome
lights.
face.
Gets
Oh my
shocked.
goodness.
Well, okay. So
Aw.
speaking of good head,
Sorry.
Yes. So speaking of good
Hang on a
head,
second.
Wait
Go
a
ahead,
second.
waiting.
so part of our whole thing is we want to talk about.
I got
the
a question, but
tasting.
yeah.
Well, no, please.
Go ahead.
No, you guys were talking about.
Did you say good head?
I said
Yeah.
good head.
Yeah,
I was
No, that's
gonna. You
not-
guys, you
You
two,
are-
you
but
two.
you're
Everybody's
gay.
attention.
He's
You're
reverting back
so
to your
late
gay
to the
bar
party.
previously, and now he wants to talk about good heads. I don't understand.
Please ask your question. What's
Okay,
Yeah,
your
so you're
please,
the
everybody's
Alewives.
Yes.
You two are married.
No.
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 Nope.
Nope.
Well, then never mind my question.
That's a great question.
Wait, now I want to know what the question was going to be. Hang on.
I was gonna
you're-
gonna ask if your husbands were interested in craft beer.
No, we're not
But-
married. We call ourselves the Alewives, so we never really did explain that, did we?
No, you didn't.
So our name is based on what women were called. So women were the original brewers. I can't believe I didn't talk about this when
Historically.
we talked about Alewives.
I know.
Yeah.
We're
We picked
slacking.
our name, of course, before we started. It took us a while.
Yeah, it did.
We were trying to come up with something clever, but Alewives was perfect because that's what, like, I guess it was Middle Ages. I'm gonna do a whole at least one, if not two episodes on the history of the name and women as brewers. So they were the original brewers.
Right.
Brewing was considered part of like the home, and women were kind of the ones who tended the home while their men were away marauding. And
See, Gina, you should be brewing beer.
All the
so
All the time.
like before the Middle Ages, as far as I can tell so far in my research, men weren't even really allowed to own like pubs and stuff. Like women ran those things. They brewed
Yep.
the beer. They were the only ones allowed to do that. It was their world. It was Middle Ages when when men realized that it was they could be monetized, and there was this kind of intense like patriarchy or patriarchal movement that sort of took over anything that would give women autonomy, and brewing beer gave them a massive amount of autonomy. They took it kind of away. But anyway, so that'll be an episode people can listen to.
That's a good episode.
But Alewives is what they were called. One of the names they were called. They were
Ah,
called
okay.
Alewives. It's also a fish if you Google it. But
Really?
yeah, it's a fish, the alewife.
Yeah.
But Alewives, Brewsters. I mean, they had a few names.
Witches.
But
Witches.
Witches.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
there are some ties to the traditional witch, like the very stereotypical,
The
like
cauldron and
yeah,
the,
and the
Yeah.
hat and all that date back to Brewsters and Alewives. The iconic, like the very iconic look. Yeah, so that's where our name comes from. Neither of us are married. However, my boyfriend is into beer. What's pretty funny is that he looks every bit the type, I guess. The bearded,
Yeah, he does.
like,
Yeah, I've
Good
sing that.
man.
Well,
Is he
yeah.
still listening? Tell him to say hello.
he might still be listening. But it's pretty funny. He's always like, no, you want to ask her. He loves beer. He loves going to breweries. He has a lot of knowledge, but I think it's not as maybe intense a passion for him. It's a pastime. So it's interesting to have that dynamic
Mhm.
kind of be different.
Now, Fury, there's
Oh
That was Pig's fault.
That was Pig.
Pig.
no! Go ahead. Sorry.
Welcome to Beard Hops.
well, there's a couple. So I'm on your website. There's a couple of guys. Karma, you don't have a page yet.
Oh,
don't.
yeah, my bio. I know. I'm
yeah,
terrible.
but Fury, there's a couple
yeah.
of guys in the pictures here.
Yes.
Is this a boyfriend of yours
Are
or
you trying to get her a date or something? What are you
Wait,
trying to
hold
do,
on,
dude?
hold on.
no?
One
I'm just,
of them
'cause
Dad.
both of these guys look like beer
No,
guys.
that's
One of them is
That's-
the dude from Stone.
that's Stone Brewing. That's
Oh,
the-
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
dude.
I I don't know who else is
Greg
in
Koch?
this.
Like, wait, what
Cox?
other photo
Cox?
did I post?
I don't remember what I posted. Hold on.
You
let
had a
me-
picture of you and your dad.
I have a picture of me and my dad, the bald guy at the bar.
Yep, there's one of guy at the bar. Yep.
Hold on, let me pull this up. So
There you go. It's right here. I got it up for you.
Yo,
Oh, yeah,
there he
that's me and
is.
my
I love that
dad.
picture of you and your dad.
We lost him in 2012.
Hey,
Aw.
those are my other two. So in Derby, we have wives.
We have Derby wives.
I have a bit of a harem. So when you asked if we were married, I thought you meant to each other. And I was like,
that'd
that's
be
very progressive of you to think
That'd
that.
be that's
It
one,
it is what my wife asked tonight.
That's-
She's
Yeah,
"Are you
and
married
and
to
that's
each
a
other?"
fair
And
question.
it was one of my thoughts as well, and that's
No.
that's totally
I do
cool if
consider
it was. But
her my Derby
That's
wife.
us.
She's my beer wife. Yeah, hey, there we are. So I have a Derby wife, but she's part of my harem.
That's us again being retarded. On
But
the-
I consider her
I don't mean retarded. I mean stupid.
silly. Right.
Silly.
Let's not use the.
I don't know who. Okay, that's the bar. Okay, so there's
That's
the
your
bar.
mom. Aw, sweet.
That's my mom, who drinks beer with me, and that guy is the bartender at the bar.
Just take a picture with the bartender.
Well, okay, listen. So,
Oh, hey, that's the Stone guy, right?
Yeah, the
yeah,
Stone
that's
guy.
the guy from Stone.
He
So,
looks like the guy
at
from
that-
Folk Family Revival.
Yeah, he
I'm
does.
sorry, okay.
At that particular bar, it's the Flying Saucer. I don't know if you guys have ever been there or heard of it.
Is
They-
it
Nope.
national?
It's
Is it?
regional-ish.
Oh, okay.
So they have this thing where you join their little beer nerd club, and
Beer nerd.
yeah,
It's true.
Nerd.
but it's KNURD, like drunk backwards, which is
Yeah.
pretty great.
nerd.
So you go and you swipe this little card and you print a ticket for what you drink and you turn it in, and then when you get 200 different beers, they throw you a party and you get this like
Plate.
gold plate on the wall or on the ceiling in the bar. And that was my 200th beer on my first plate at that bar. So some random dude took a picture of me. No, it wasn't a random dude. Well, it wasn't a random dude. Okay.
Random dude.
Random dude now.
So
Random dude
no,
alert.
no.
Okay.
My 200th beer was the Firestone Walker IPA. What is it?
Girl, I don't know.
Union Jack, is that
Oh
what
yeah.
it's called?
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds right.
Yeah,
That sounds
okay.
right.
So my 200th beer was Union Jack, and it was at the like launch party for Firestone Walker. They finally got distribution in Texas. It was the dude from the brewery that took the picture of me and the bartender that served me the beer, and my mom for my
nice.
200th beer. They got me the plate on the ceiling
Yes.
at the bar. So, way long
That's
drawn
like-
out story.
That's the before Untapped.
Mhm.
Right.
You went to
Yeah.
you went to Flying Saucer and you got your plate on the wall. I've
Yeah.
never ever done the plate on the wall
I have
thing.
2 now.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I've just there's something about the Flying Saucer, like it's so crowded, it stresses me out.
It's crowded, and
So
that
I'm like,
is the setting of most of my weird beer experiences with random dudes.
oh yeah, because you're sitting at the bar.
Because I'm sitting at the
You're
bar by
sorting
myself
beer.
usually, or with my mom. But
You know, it all depends on the circumstances. To circle way back. Let's go in the way back machine.
I almost spilled my beer.
Don't do that. It's interesting as a woman personally. My experiences have been so disparate.
Yeah.
You'll have so I remember after I'd broken my arm in roller derby, I had this shiny, bright pink, like neon pink cast, and it was a good conversation starter. And so I have never been asked for my number so many times in my life. Like it just started with, holy shit, what happened to your arm? And turned into like, just, oh, you're a person who's like, who knows stuff and we share things in common. And like, we can just have a conversation without any like expectations or, you're just sitting next to me at a bar. We're having a conversation to that like, oh, you're a woman at a bar alone. You must want company.
Yeah.
You need to be
tell
saved.
Yeah. Can I get your number? I can
Like
help
you're
you out.
alone. Oh no.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Has to be the worst.
I had to have the bartender rescue me at the Flying Saucer once.
Oh, that's never fun.
I was there with a date.
Did he save you from your date?
No, he saved me from another dude that wouldn't leave us alone.
What was wrong with your date?
No,
Why
he was
didn't
fine.
Oh,
He was fine.
oh,
He
but-
just
okay.
he couldn't anyway. The bartender had to come and ask the dude to leave.
Oh.
Oh wow.
He was just not. I think he was like super dry.
That's not a really uncommon experience either.
Yeah.
I had that happen at a place here in town. I went to a bar early. I was meeting a girlfriend of mine.
Yep.
I mean, I was feeling it. I had like dressed up a little bit. It was cute. It was fine. Hanging out at this bar, one I knew, and this guy just like he would not go away. And I was trying to, do the whole turn away, not engage. My friend showed up, and my friend is even more outspoken and like aggressive than I am.
Which one?
Suzanne.
Oh, okay.
She won't take no shit from nobody.
Yeah, no, I know.
So he was acting kind of the same way when she was there, and she finally was like, "What the fuck is your problem?" And he got like really in his face. And finally the bartender came over and was like, "Dude, you gotta go." But he let him continue for so long, obviously harassing, like not just being annoying, but being harassing, like the whole time until she made a fuss about it. But it just didn't take that.
Yeah.
Guys are dicks.
Well, it's good that you were saved. by
Guys
that.
are
usually.
dicks.
Guys are dicks.
A lot of the time, yeah.
They
But
can
not all the
be.
time.
Not all the
Not all the
time. I've had some great encounters too. But I do think that one of the reasons we started this was to really try and
Bring it to light the bad stuff.
women
Bad
want to feel
behavior.
safe, just as safe as a man who walks out their door and goes to a bar. We want to feel the same level of safety. We want to know that we can go have a few drinks and not feel like there's a target on our backs. And sometimes we want to do that alone. I enjoy that. In fact, I like to find a place that I like.
Is it getting better, or do you feel that way at all right now, or?
I'm not sure it's changed.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked this earlier, Chad. It didn't sound like it changed.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's changed, but I think I'm getting more comfortable in being like,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, there's that.
Sorry.
There is
Yeah.
more comfort in go fuck yourself. Like, what are you? Get away. But even that puts you in some danger, right? It just kind of
Right.
depends on the dude. Because you can't really, I can't fight some guy who's
I don't know
got
how much
100
of that
pounds on me.
I can't attribute to roller derby though.
What's that?
I said I don't know how much of that I can't attribute to roller derby though.
Oh, like the
Being able to be like feel a little bit safer in
Yeah.
the fact that I could probably take you out.
yeah, derby definitely helps with that.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, like you just have to dip a little bit low and hit somebody in the right spot with your hip, and they're done.
And they're
Like,
flying.
they're out.
Yeah, I mean, between like just having kind of the force of women behind me,
Mm-hmm.
the movement,
Yeah.
plus just feeling like I could defend myself a little bit,
And you have the right to. Like you can
Exactly.
take up that space.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
a huge
feeling
thing
a lot
in
better.
derby.
I've started like, normally when I'm walking down a sidewalk or that's narrow, I'll like turn to the side to let somebody pass. I've stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I've started squaring my shoulders
Yeah.
and just walking straight.
There's
through.
room.
Yeah.
You bump
Own-
into
Just
me,
move.
you bump into me.
Yeah.
I own my space.
Own the space. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And-
Especially when there's room. Like we can both share this
Yeah.
space. You don't have to take up the middle.
Yeah, and once I started doing that, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I don't have to move for you. I don't have to like make myself small
Yeah.
for you.
Yep.
Right.
So,
Right. Do you
that
two
helps.
do you two travel for work?
Very rarely.
Same.
A couple times a year, maybe.
True.
Okay. I
I
wondered.
go to a couple conferences a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got your local community that you go to, the breweries, the bars that you go to, and you're probably comfortable there. When you're out across the country traveling for work or personal fun or whatever, how does it compare to being home? Do you feel welcome at in other areas of the country when you walk into a bar, or how does that compare to being home?
So, if you don't mind,
No, go for it. You've
then-
traveled more recently than I have.
yeah, I only say it because I went on a conference in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'd never been there. Cool city, loved it. There is really an amazing network of women who love beer. And there are some really amazing women who have created groups specifically for that, for specifically just women. And the last time I traveled, or when I went to Pittsburgh, I reached out to the chapter of Beer and Body. It's the Craft Beer Girls Beer and Body. It's a group we both belong to.
My wife, Gina, just went, yes, that's what I follow. I know that.
Yeah.
The nationwide in the Illinois. Yeah.
Yay.
So I reached out to the Pittsburgh chapter and I asked them where to go because I wasn't going to sit in my hotel room. I'm not really that. I'm not really that kind of
so
person.
Boring.
It's so dull. But what was great is that someone from that chapter met me out, and she and I sort of went and brewery hopped a little bit and had such a good time. She was so awesome, and I got to feel welcome in the city. And I found, but personally, so I showed up at one of the breweries early on my own, and fortunately, the guy there. I experienced no problems whatsoever. But again, I would say that I'm on the assertive side of the spectrum. I don't tend to walk into a place wondering if I'm okay there. I just am like, fuck you, I'm here. So I'm not aggressive, but I certainly don't, I just don't worry about it too much until I have to. And there have been plenty of times when I've had to, but I find that if you walk into a place with absolutely no qualms and not worrying about what people are going to think of you, they tend to not think of you. So I just got served. But that there are just these really amazing networks that allow for that, and I love that. The Craft Beer and Body Girls, Craft Beer Girls is really great.
They're going to be on one of our upcoming episodes.
Our next recording will be the founder of
Kate.
Yeah, Kate Christensen is here in Houston, and so she's gonna chat with us.
Isn't she the girl from Below Deck?
Maybe she did work for.
No idea. I have no idea what that is.
It's a Bravo show, Chad.
No, it's a boat show I watch on Bravo.
Oh, dear Lord. I was like, is this a brewery? Because she was somewhere else before, and it's a possibility.
Even they said, dear Lord. They don't even know you in that. Dear Lord.
At least it wasn't bless your heart or
bless your heart.
Bless you.
Bless you. Honey.
Or the ever popular on this podcast. Shut up, Chad. Just
shut up.
Oh, honey.
I get that. Yeah, when I talk about boats too much, like shut up.
I like that one.
And that could have been a brewery name 100%.
Oh, yes.
So so anyway, she's the founder, and she'll come talk to us along with her like kind of second in command.
Texas admins.
Yeah, her Texas group admins. But
we're doing that in what, like 2 weeks? Next weekend?
The 15th.
Yeah, we're doing that next weekend.
Yeah, we record them on the 15th.
Exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I would say, to answer your question, do I feel welcome? Generally, I just don't worry about it. And I think that depends on the person, and I know that's me as an individual. I just choose, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Fuck you if you don't think I should be here. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't think about it too hard because that's exhausting. If I thought about every place I felt like I should belong, I'd never go anywhere. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and that's just as a woman. That's not even as a minority in any way.
That really bothers me though, that you even have to feel that way. Like if you walk into a place and you're like, I don't feel welcome here, that kind of shit really bothers me. So I mean, that's one of the reasons we have to ask these questions, because as you know, as we go to breweries and bars wherever we're at, you know, I'm a very extroverted person, so I always love engaging in conversation with new people. So I want to be the kind of person that will welcome anybody walking in. And it bothers me to hear you say, well, you know, if that's the way you feel, fuck you, but it really shouldn't be that way anyway.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I do wish there was more of that sentiment. You know, so much is cultural. Like, we're in Texas. Man, it's a different world.
Yeah, it's very different here.
It's a different world.
Texas is its own country, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Houston is one of the most diverse cities in the country. And when I leave it, I really, really realize that. When I walk into other places, it's almost weird, even as a white woman, to walk into a place that's just full of other white people and not anything else. I'm like, something's off here.
Yeah.
This isn't what's happening. It takes a minute for that to settle in.
Yeah.
But I was just out in hill country, and I mean, Bandera is it is a cowboy town. That's what it is. It is ranchers, cowboys, cowgirls. Like, these are people who that's their life. That's what they do. Texas is it's a different plane of existence.
Someplace like that, do you plan what you're going to wear? Like I mean,
that's a good question.
I mean, if as,
Did you wear
as a
chaps?
woman, do you walk in a pretty dress? Do you put on chaps?
Jake
Or
could
what do you-
finally wear the assless chaps he's always wanted to. You bought them years ago, and you hardly ever wear them.
Finally,
With
an
the hat and the
opportunity.
boots.
He only wears them at home.
If you like motorcycle riding, it was
Here, I'll
definitely
stand
the
up.
last
You
weekend.
show them to you guys.
No, sit down. Nobody wants to see that.
Oh,
Don't do
wait,
that.
there was a show. What?
It really wasn't a show.
I mean, I always feel like I have to look cute to go to a bar.
Yeah, there is an
Even if it's
expectation.
just after work.
Me too.
Oh.
I'm
We
joking.
were
Even
just
in
saying
Bandera,
before-
Texas.
We were
Well,
just
I've
saying
never been
before
there.
how jealous we were that dudes could just be like, "Yeah, I'm in these jeans and a t-shirt." Like, it's not even.
I put on makeup today.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Like, I would have done it anyway for this, but I had a presentation, so I was like, I had to speak in front of people today, so I was like, okay, I'll do the thing. But that is absolutely something you think about. When I went to Bandera for the weekend, I was planning on going to some honky tonks and doing some dancing. So yeah, I absolutely was like, I gotta be in either Daisy Dukes with some lace or a dress
Right.
and some cowboy boots. Like, that's what you do. I think men probably in that situation think about it too. They're in their ropers, they're in their boots, they're in their Levi's, their flannels. Like, they have a uniform as well. But I don't know. Yes, every time I walk out my door, I'm like, what am I wearing? Is this gonna incite some bullshit? Is this gonna be acceptable?
Is there
this
too
gonna
much boob?
call too much attention? Like,
Too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there too much cleavage? Is it gonna be
See,
like,
I
it's
keep
fucking
trying.
hot outside? I just want to be in a dress where
I keep
not
trying to get
covered.
Gina to pose with a beer, showing some boob, because that's what all the Instagram likes get, and we need some more likes on Instagram.
Yeah, it's all.
But
about
she
Instagram
won't
likes.
do it. So
I was
Well,
just
that's
going to
a
say,
whole other
for
conversation,
the record,
isn't it?
I refuse.
I'll do it,
Plus,
Adam.
I'll just be honest. There's not a whole lot going on up here, so I don't really have a lot to offer in that respect.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation, isn't it? Like, Good Beer Hunting just did a really great episode where they sort of covered this kerfuffle that happened on beer Twitter that I'm sure you all saw about beer influencers. And
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
that was actually what I can't remember the podcast that
Instagram?
got. So there was a listicle that came out of like ladies you should follow in craft beer, and it was a lot of honestly, they were brewers, they were women in beer who worked in it, who did it, but they also had very curated Instagram accounts, and it was I would actually say the ones so there was another podcast that started talking about this at the front of an episode, and he dismissed every single one of these women that he called out. And when I went back and looked at their Instagram accounts, they were not the like all TNA accounts or whatever.
Right.
If they happen to, they're women. They have tits and ass. What are you going to do? Like, who fucking cares? They have actual beer knowledge and like history and all of this. That's that's such a difficult place to navigate, because as a woman, you want to be able to do whatever the fuck you want. Wear the bikini if you feel good in it. Dance on a fucking beach if you want to. Do
Yeah.
some fucking yoga and on some mountainside in a bra and a pair of shorts if you want, because it's hot when you're hiking, and screw all that. But there's this other side to it. Like, what are you inviting? Should that matter? Does it matter? I mean, societally, should we be worried about that? Like, does it invite those dudes who are just there to look at your tits and your ass?
Never blame the victim.
Well, yeah, and that's what it comes down to, is like, as a woman, the expectations every time you walk out your fucking door.
Yeah.
Man, it's
It's rough.
It is tiring. So like I choose not to follow accounts like that for my own personal reasons. But I try not to pass judgment on those people who choose to use that platform that way, because it's what gets them paid. It's what gets them like, and it's ultimately their own decision. So go ahead. I mean, it's such a tightrope to walk.
Yeah.
I'm just trying
It's
to get
such a
more
tightrope.
likes.
Well said.
She's way better at saying shit than I am.
Sorry, it's a bit of a platform. it's a soapbox.
No, but it makes sense.
Soapbox.
It's
Candace.
Yeah.
and that's why that's really why we're doing kind of this season. We devoted to like more diversity in craft beer. We're trying to
And I love
highlight women in craft beer. We're trying to highlight, Black people in craft beer. We're trying to cover all of that because, when I listen to other podcasts, I don't see it that much. And I don't know if you saw on Twitter like Fresh Fest that happened in
it was amazing to see all those posts come through.
right.
It was awesome.
And this is so bad of me to say, but honestly, what came to my mind was, wait a minute, there's Black-owned breweries somewhere. Why haven't I ever heard of them? Where are
right?
they?
And
like,
so many enough to like have a whole festival.
so many have a full fest, right? And so that's when I got the idea. I'm like, okay, I didn't know about this. There's got to be a lot of people who have no idea.
Yeah.
Everybody just thinks it's white guys with beards that have breweries. So let's kind of change that and try to get it out there on what tiny platform we have to try to bring more attention to it. And it's fun for us to be able to talk to different people that have different thoughts, have different experiences than we do. So that's kind of what led us down this. So yeah, jump on your platform. Yes,
absolutely.
I mean, I love it.
Some of these questions.
I think it's really. I was saying while your internet was out that I really appreciate
Thanks,
what you guys have
Comcast.
done. What you guys have done with this last season. The voices you've highlighted seem very pointed in a way that I like it. I like that you're obviously reaching out of your own personal comfort zone, your own personal like sphere of influence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so important. These are the conversations that we should be having. And we don't even work in the industry, but we certainly know lots of people who do. And we want this to be something women can come to with confidence and not feel what we've felt over the years being part of this. And it's awesome that I said it at the beginning of the episode, it takes men, frankly, unfortunately, to highlight those voices and give them legitimacy. I had a friend once ask me, I don't know, I was on a kick one week, or maybe it was a couple of weeks of sending
couple months, maybe it was a whole year. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, sending him these articles about like what he's my friend from high school, and I remember putting up with the jokes they would make in college and things like that, and just laughing it off as a young woman, just trying to be cool, trying to stay with the group, like fit in, even though they were gross, they were uncalled for, they made me uncomfortable. And the more, it's been really wonderful to see this kind of movement happen where they're like, no, fuck that, we don't have to do that, we don't have to deal with that. It's very empowering. And now as an adult, he kind of sees that, and we've had some very frank conversations about how that affected me when I was younger. And he flat out was like, what can I do now? Like, how am I better now? And I was like, honestly, be a voice for not just women, but if we're talking about that specifically, be a voice for them. When you see some dude acting the fool, like being an asshole, call him out, because he's not going to listen to the woman. She's going to be like crazy or whatever.
Right.
Yep.
If you make the statement, they're going to listen to you, and you've changed a mind, or at least you've made them pause and say, oh, is that fucked up? Like, maybe. Yeah. So I think it's really important that you guys have your platform, however big, small, whatever. Like, I think you guys are doing some really awesome stuff. I appreciate it.
For sure.
Well, we appreciate that too. And I the questions that we ask, we hope that we're not being crass or sexist in any way, but I think that the questions that we ask need to be asked. And I think getting a perspective from whether it's white women, black man, whatever it is, some of these questions, I think left unasked are important. So,
as we've talked with Chad, with people on the show, as Adam pointed earlier, like, or Gina did, who do you see when you're at, who's the bar back, right? So it's all about giving everybody a voice and letting everybody know that you're part of this. This is not, we're inclusive.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And I don't know what I feel like I talked a lot. And Furious had her own experiences traveling and going places. Has
I
it
mean,
been
I
different?
haven't had bad experiences traveling. Typically, when I go to breweries, it's when I'm traveling, it's solo. I mean, I haven't had any weird issues or anything really, but
That's good though.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It's great. I did have, when I was in Portland, I went on this, hey, random bartender, where should I go next kind of choose your own adventure kind of deal.
Yes.
And I ended up like finding some really cool, like kind of hidden away spots. So like it was kind of shady, but like everybody was really cool and took care of me to make sure I got home, because I was not able to get home on my own.
Hammered.
By the end of it, yeah. I actually
Yeah.
heard in the Pacific Northwest, Portland specifically, women outweigh the men.
Yeah.
in terms of beer drinking, or they did
Really?
in whatever
Mhm.
study in like 2016 or 17 or something like that.
That's when I
I
was
think-
up there.
I am making up these numbers because I can't remember specifically, but it was like 52 or 54% of beer drinkers, craft beer drinkers in the region were women.
That doesn't surprise me out of the Pacific Northwest. I mean, I travel for work quite a bit, and my company's in Seattle, so
Oh, nice.
I go out there a lot, and it's usually a pretty good balance wherever I go, regardless of whether it's a brewery or bar or whatever. It's very, very balanced out there. If not even more women.
Yeah.
So we're bumping up against 2 hours here. Do you guys
Oh
have
my
any?
God.
Oh, dang.
I know, right? Exactly. That's what I was like.
God.
2 hours.
Do you guys have
Wow.
any questions for us before we?
I mean,
Pop out for the
so
night?
many. I have a list. How do we not get... Okay, so we talked about your favorite beer. So my other favorite question out of these is whether it's a specific beer or an event or a brewery, which one kind of pulled you away from like that AB InBev, Miller, Coors? Like, which one opened your mind to craft beer?
What opened the world
Yeah.
to you?
Like a brewery specifically, or just an
It can,
experience?
it can be
A beer
a beer,
or
a
any of it.
brewery, an experience, whatever it was. What is it that?
Look
What?
at-
I just like that thoughtful.
Well,
face.
I can say specifically my first craft beer that I remember drinking is Capital from Capital Brewing out of Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And when I had this beer, all their beers kind of taste bready and toasty. They have this theme amongst most of their beers, and I was like, oh, this is all right. It's kind of different. And this was probably 2011, 2012, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And that's the point where I started thinking about maybe I should really expand my horizons from drinking the case of Bud Light that I used to buy all the time, or Coors Light or whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
So that's where I can nail down somewhere in that 2011, 2012 range. I started Capital Brewing. That's where I can lay my claim to getting into the craft beer world is
Yeah.
from that beer specifically. Brewery, I don't know if I have an experience that I can really nail down, but the beer itself would be Capital.
No, that's a totally fair answer. I
Yeah.
think sometimes the beer is the thing. Like you
Yeah.
just happen to pick it up at a bar or whatever, and you're just like,
Yeah,
wow.
and it was called
Yeah.
Supper Club, and there's
Club.
in Wisconsin, supper clubs are still a thing. So
Oh yeah, okay. So what is a supper club?
well, it used to be
Oh, boy.
supper clubs used to be.
Oh boy.
They're not this way anymore. They're just restaurants now. But they used to be a place where you could go and there would be one meal served on a Friday night or a Saturday night. If you had reservations to get into the supper club, you'd get this full like 5 or 7 course, meal with, specific. Here we go again. Oh, the command strips are failing.
Hang on, it's the end of the episode.
Trying to listen about that supper club.
People would get dressed up
ignore it.
and
Okay, that's nice.
really good service, attention from a server, like
Yeah.
a server would have like 2 to 3 tables at the most. And
Yeah.
it'd just be an experience on a Friday or Saturday night. But now they're just restaurants. They're very good restaurants, but kind of changed over the years.
Sure.
That's
Like it
cool.
happens.
That's cool.
No, I love that. Jake, what's yours?
Well, we had a summer probably 2015 when we were doing a bunch of Three Floyds beers out of Indiana.
Ooh, I love Three Floyds.
So that was the start, but then there was a couple of years where it was just Coors Light and Yingling and this, that, and the other, and nothing to. Yeah,
Yinglings
exactly.
are independent, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Technically, yeah,
There you
they
go.
I
are.
like
So you
Yingling.
get
I
to
like
count
to
it.
drink that when I go visit my family in Pennsylvania.
I know it's a treat, right? When you go to the East Coast, it's a treat.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
like
it.
when I walk in the house, they crack open a Yingling and hand it to me. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Here it is.
Yep.
And then it was like fall, winter of 2017. These guys had been doing their thing, and it was Revolution out of Chicago. It was 2017 version of CBS by Founders, which I know Founders is going through some
problematic.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah, very problematic. But that 2017 version of CBS, I'll still stand by.
Sure. I get that.
These guys introduced me to Three Sheeps out of Sheboygan, and they're phenomenal.
I
Until
gotta
the
find this. I'm about to put up some of mine for
They're
trade.
so
to make
good.
that happen.
Three
so
Sheeps.
so good.
We'll send you some. Three Sheeps is good.
Central Waters I was introduced to. Yeah, I mean, when I started talking to these guys late 2017, I didn't even like stouts, barrel aged beers.
Wow.
He never.
Yeah.
It was IPAs and lagers.
And now
pretty much.
I'm like the show drunk. Like I don't like anything
Shit,
that
I
doesn't
feel like a
start at
veteran.
10% ABV. You know?
I like
So,
this guy.
Yeah,
Me and this guy.
yeah. It's where I start. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It
that's
takes a
awesome.
lot to get me to that point. So,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
you know,
Exactly.
yeah.
4%, 4.5%. That's not sessionable. That's water.
That's
That's
water.
juice.
It is kind of just water.
That's juice.
Yeah,
Wasting time and calories. Give me something good.
Right.
yeah. All right, Adam, yours?
Man, I don't remember first craft. I do remember when I moved into this hood, everybody was drinking Three Floyd Zombie Dust, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like,
Ooh,
Zombie
yeah.
dust, gumball head.
Zombie Dust at that time was really hard to find. You had to like low key ask the owner of the liquor store, yo, you got any
Yeah,
Zombie
they
Dust?
had
You
it
know,
hidden
and
away.
if he liked you, he'd like, here we go. You know,
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
didn't, he was like, get out of here. You know,
Could have
I have a
involved
couple bars like that.
yeah. But then I just remember I was on YouTube, as I do, and I came across somebody brewing beer. I was like, wait, what the fuck? You can brew beer at home? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Really? And I just dove head deep in that. And
Nice.
my buddy Dan, who
Bought
moved
the
to
whole kit.
Dallas, we went in together and bought all the equipment. We started brewing. And then that just got me, finding more craft breweries, finding local breweries, going like Tighthead Brewer. I think, was Tighthead one of the first local ones we went to, I think? Yeah. Tighthead Brewery went there, and I just started falling in love with all things craft beer. And then Chad and I went to college together. We had been disconnected for years. We finally reconnected, and we were sitting there one night talking about beer. I think it was on my back patio or something. I can't remember, but
Yeah, garage or something. Yeah.
yeah, garage or something. And I'm like, we should do a podcast. Like, we're just sitting here
Yeah.
talking shit about beer. Why don't we just record that shit and do a podcast?
We know that
Yep.
feeling.
Yeah, so that's like, all right, let's do it. And so that got us here. But yeah.
Yep.
No,
Nice.
that's great. I think we both got our start somewhere around 05, maybe before.
How late?
You guys
I
are-
graduated college in 05, so it was before that.
I was barely legal in 05.
Oh,
I
fuck.
think that's the
Oh,
year I
stop
turned
it.
21.
God
All
damn it.
right. Jeez, we're old as hell
wait.
at this point.
Yeah,
Jeez.
no shit.
No,
So-
wait, no, I was 22. I
Yeah.
was 22 in
Okay.
05.
okay.
That doesn't make it better.
Whew.
Yeah. So my dad got me into it though. He
Yeah.
would take me to bars, and I would be their designated driver. And
See, we need to get my daughter a designated
That's
driver. I'm
fine.
telling
There you go.
Hey,
And,
buddy, let's go.
eventually, I wasn't so designated anymore, and then I just started. My dad taught me how to brew beer. He taught me like everything about beer.
Yeah.
That's
So,
amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty. My dad was awesome.
Yeah,
The
she has a ton of
coolest.
great stories about her dad and
Yeah,
brewing.
I try to share them sporadically in the podcast. So listen up. They're really
Yeah.
great.
If
My
we
dad
weren't
was-
already up against the 2-hour mark, I'd be like, all right, so when was the last time you homebrewed and what was it? What's your biggest failure? We have questions,
Oh, we can-
guys.
Oh man, last time we homebrewed, when was that? That was last year, wasn't
December.
it? December, yeah.
We save it for the cooler months too, because fuck
Oh,
this Texas
it's
heat.
so
There is
freaking hot.
no.
Yeah,
There
it is.
doesn't
It really has nothing to do with weather. For it's just sheer laziness on our part.
Yeah,
at this point.
every time we brew, we're like, all right, next month let's
we
brew
gotta do this
something
again.
else.
We gotta do this again. Then we just like
and it's always like once a year.
Put it off. Put
We,
it off.
Yeah.
my friends and I call it advanced dishwashing because that's really all you
Oh
do.
yeah, you're just you're cleaning constantly. Yeah. The
But-
biggest failure. Are you talking about the biggest failure when it coming to brewing?
Yeah, home brewing. Yeah.
Oh man, I got a good one.
Yeah,
I love it, yeah.
You got a scar to prove it.
I got a scar to prove this one.
Oh, I do too. I do too right here.
Yeah, it's probably the second time we ever brewed, third time, something like that.
Second.
Yeah, second. Yeah,
Second.
my buddy Dan was over. Were you there, Jake? I don't even remember at this point.
I was in and out. Yes. I missed. The
So we
first time.
were just getting ready to chill the wort, and we had dropped the chiller into it. We had started running the cold water through the chiller. Well, then it sprung a leak, and so
Oh no.
so I just grabbed and I clamped the hose,
Oh no.
and then we went and we tightened up the clamp on it. And then, my buddy Dan clamped the hose. I was like, all right, I think we're good. Go ahead and let it go. He let it go, and the outlet hose that spits out the warm water, it when it suddenly let it go, it got a burst of my headphones just fell out. Got a
Yeah,
burst
it's like
of water
Gina's
coming
struggling
through it,
over there.
and it just
No.
flipped and sprayed all over my leg. And at that point, it was boiling water, right?
Oh no!
But I'm like, my focus is like, well, let's get the beer cooled down. Let's get it done. We got to cool down. We got it in the fermenter.
Priorities.
And I went and sat down, and I think she brought home lunch for us. We were sitting there eating, and like, man, my leg really hurts. It really kind of hurts, man, this really hurts. And then, I don't know, it was like a week later or something. Our neighbor who's a nurse is like, get your fucking ass to the doctor.
Oh shit!
Oh no.
2 days later, yeah. She's like, you have like at least a 2nd-degree burn.
Oh shit.
I mean, there was flesh falling off my leg. It was beautiful.
Oh no!
Yeah, what do we call that beer? Burnt flesh, or what was it called? What do we call that one?
Oh, that's
Burnt?
That's
No, not burnout.
Burnout.
No, flame out.
No, flame out was the last one.
Burnout.
Flame out's the last failure.
Yeah, flame out's the last failure.
so. Our only brewing experience together was a total. Flop.
We had zero fermentation.
no fermentation.
at all.
Yummy.
So
But the last time
That
that,
was
I
the
brewed
thing.
beer with I had a group of friends, and I forget the name of the street they lived on, but it started with a T, and it was something Avenue, and so we called it TABC, which is the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission.
Yeah.
But it was the brewing club or whatever. We made a beer that all three of us got hurt on. I sliced my thumb open, and the two of them burned themselves pretty badly. And we just called the beer Burninator. And put
Burninator, Trogdor. I don't know if y'all
on
know
the
the
label,
Homestar
and
reference, Homestar Runner.
It was pretty bad,
That's pretty funny.
but it was pretty funny. We all three got injured.
I highly recommend Googling Trogdor
It's the best video.
if you're not familiar.
Yeah.
Trogdor.
Trogdor.
How do you spell that? Just like it sounds?
Trogdor. Trogdor.
Just like it sounds. Trogdor.
Yeah. Trogdor from Homestar Runner. It's worth it.
It's the best little video
Yeah.
ever.
Well, the last time we brewed last year, we were doing the boil, and we were just watching. I think we were watching football, drinking beer, whatever. We were just hanging out in the garage while I was boiling, and then I don't know. So we looked over and the temperature's dropping. What's going on? Well, the flame went out at
Dropping
some point.
quickly.
We had no
no.
idea.
And the boil
when,
had stopped.
no,
Oh
no idea how long. So we lit it back up, let it go, and that's why we called it Flame Out Stout. It was a stout
Nice.
beer. We just called it
Nice.
Flame Out Stout because we're like, I
Well,
don't
we
know.
did an episode on different styles of Nordic brewing, right? What was the episode? The actual episode? Anyway, we talked about
I don't remember.
traditional styles of Nordic brewing, and one of them was they used to brew with hot rocks. Oh, it was a saison. It was a saison episode.
Yes. Using the hot rocks.
So because they brewed in wood barrels, you couldn't start a fire under it. Obviously, you
Right.
catch the barrel on fire. So
Obviously.
instead, they would heat rocks up to a boiling point
So they were
temperature,
white
and then
hot,
they drop
and then
it
drop 'em
in
in
the
the barrel.
wort and boil it that way.
Oh.
And so every boil was different. There wasn't a science to it. You didn't have a period of time you boiled for. You just, however hot the rock was, however long it would boil. And Fury and I decided we
We're
want
gonna
to do
try
that.
it.
So I think maybe
Oh, that'd be
We're-
awesome.
one
We're
of our
gonna
next
lose
ones,
digits, I'm sure.
yeah, one of our next ones will be an attempt at at Brewing with Hot
Well,
Rocks.
who was it? Somebody messaged us and said
Yeah,
to
so
be
you guys
careful
had him
about
on,
it.
David Nielsen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so y'all had I loved listening to that. He's actually been really awesome. He listened to our episodes. He like listens to our podcast. And I'm like, wait, you're a professional. What's happening here?
I don't even know if he listens to ours, and he was on the show, so that's really good.
He's been great about it. I don't know about the last few episodes,
Be really
but
careful about that. And I was like, yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he sent us a Twitter message because he listened to that episode. He was like, hey, I know you guys are going to come across this in your research, but I just feel like I have to say it. Like, just be very mindful what rocks you use because some of them will explode. And so you're like, cool. We'll make sure that we
Thanks for
pick
the
the
warning.
right kind of rocks.
Oh, for
I'm sure like pumice, like there's a lot of holes or whatever. I imagine it could expand like that hot air in those holes and like make it explode is my kind of guess.
Yeah.
What little science knowledge I have left from my high school days. But I thought that was really cool. It was almost like a little affirmation, like, oh shit,
Somebody
he listened to that
Somebody
shit. Like,
not just
always
somebody, but he listened.
yeah. He'll be at I get to go to GABF. Are any of you going to GABF?
No.
Nah, we keep
Oh.
talking about it, but not going.
Bummer. Well, if you decide to, let me know. I'll be there. I would love to meet up in person.
Shut up.
But yeah.
You're not bitter about that at all. All right.
Not even
No.
And I hope that I'll get to meet up with some of these folks. Like, I don't think Afro Beer Check is gonna go, but I think Tony Two Pint might be there, and if I can make it happen, I'd love to meet her in person. David Nielsen, he'll be there, and we've already kind of exchanged a couple messages. If he's not working too hard, maybe we can meet up, which is really cool. It's gonna be fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Denny said in the comment section said Trogdor, all caps, exclamation points, and then burninating the countryside, burning the peasants.
Burninating the peasants, yes.
Oh, that's the best. We did play the video over and over and over again once we decided on the name.
Oh, yeah.
We
Oh,
just
yeah.
played it over and over again.
Well, even as a group of Derby wives, I guess, like our
We're the Teen Girl Squad.
we are the Teen Girl Squad, which is also from Homestar Runner. It's a
It's
a
a 90s
thing.
kid, 80s, 90s kid thing.
90s kid thing. Like, it was definitely
Yeah.
Is it Trogdor the Burninator song?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely have to watch that.
All right.
It was this weird,
Oh,
like,
man.
animated web comic kind
It's
of thing.
from like, I mean, I remember watching it when I was in high school.
I was obsessed. I watched it all the time.
I watched him draw a dragon right now.
Yes,
Yes.
with the strong arm and the scales and the upside down wings.
This is not a dragon.
So good. It's so good.
It doesn't look right.
All right. So what are your other questions you normally ask?
I mean, we flew through those last few. What is your current favorite style? Like, I know we talked about your favorite beer, but like right now, what's your go-to?
It's your style of choice.
Yeah,
Look at all that deep thought.
I know. I love it.
I will go
There's so
year
many to
round
pick
with a
from.
Kolsch.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Chad loves Kolsch.
Yeah.
I love
he's a-
Kolsch's.
I am
Big
getting
Kolsch.
back into them in a big way. I feel like I'm very much following the trend of like I'm super over all this crazy shit. I just want a good beer.
I mean,
the
Kolsch's
old
are always
traditional styles are always
the
good to go back
Kolsch's
to.
is typically refreshing.
Yeah.
And some of them are I mean, you don't get high ABV out of these, but I just really love the style. That's probably where I would go, especially in the summer, but year round. I'll always gravitate to the Kolsch.
Yeah. Love it.
That's good.
Yeah, I've been drinking lagers, Kolsch's.
Lagers.
Daggers.
I don't want to. I always look at the menu like, what's the highest ABV?
Okay. That's
Yeah.
a whole other question. I want Adam to answer first, but then I want to go back. I want to circle back around to ABV. So
Oh god. I mean, this whole summer I've really been anything brute. I mean, there's brute IPA, brute pilsner, Central Waters, a brute pilsner is really really good.
yeah, I love it.
Hey, dude.
They're dry.
Good
They're not too
Pilsner.
sweet. They're like effervescent.
Yeah, they're just
You still get the
they're good.
hops without the bitter. I really.
Yeah, my
These were
second I mean, I will never pass up a barrel aged anything.
You do
Yeah.
see the horse in the background there?
Yeah, there's
I do.
It's
So
the puppers.
beautiful.
yeah, that's Baylor.
Is that a Mastiff?
That's a Great Dane. We have 3 Great Danes.
Oh,
Great
dang.
Dane.
Yeah, so he
Oh, he's so
anywhere
cute.
my wife goes, he's right there. So
Aw.
the door was. She came back in the room and had the door open just this or closed, and there's this much room, and he shoved the door open with his nose and came in. So
My cats are that
That's
way.
what Pig does.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
her cats are that way too. Like I have 2, she has 2. Mine are that way. I don't ever get to be in a room by myself ever.
well, at least yours don't weigh 140 pounds though. So.
That's very true.
Well, Pig
Yeah,
probably does.
I've got 5 dogs. The one that always follows me around is my little 14-pound Hungarian Pumi, who's right next to me, but she's sleeping. So I'm not gonna wake her up. But
Okay.
Aw,
she's-
I love
she's a cute
5
dog.
dogs. Oh my goodness.
Jersey's
Yeah.
a great dog.
we have 4 golden retrievers and a little Hungarian Pumi.
I love it. Oh, Goldens are maybe my favorite dog. Well, they're close. They're up in the top 5. They're great.
Oh, they're great. They're great. What about you guys? What do you do? What's your favorite
Style
Beer
or
of
dog?
choice?
style? Style.
I was like, dog?
Yeah, what are we?
I'm more of a cat person.
Style of
It's a-
beer. Style
It's a
of
dog podcast. Hey.
What's your favorite style right now?
IPA.
Yeah, she's
always,
an IPA drinker.
Always IPAs.
Okay.
I like all of like the kind of fruity ones, but not the
Yeah.
overly fruity, like burn the back of your throat kind
Yeah.
of fruity ones.
The lightly.
The lightly fruited.
I like milkshake
Really
IPAs,
hot.
the lactose IPAs.
Yeah, those are pretty good. I
They're
like the one I
smoother.
had earlier. It's a double dry hopped IPA, but I think it's a hazy IPA. So
New England, yeah.
New Englandy.
That's probably what Gina would say right now.
It has an
Yeah, let me.
octopus with a monocle.
She's sitting here talking over my shoulder, and she's not even on.
Yeah. That's a local brewery, 11 Below.
Right around the corner.
I mean, right now I'm drinking Oktoberfest as much as I possibly can because I only have so many months of doing that. Oh, hi, lighting
Sorry,
change.
it's getting really hot.
That's my current beer choice. I think, yeah, it much like Gina was describing, it kind of depends on the season. Like if it's y'all, the Texas heat, it's
For
a
reals.
thing. I know it gets hot everywhere, but holy shit, like it's real
Dude.
bad down here. So I will go off the stouts for the summer.
Oh no, I don't drink a stout.
And
in
I
the
love
summer.
a barrel aged anything. Give it to me all the time. But like when it's 112 degrees, like feeling outside,
Yeah.
forget that shit. Give me like a lime and salt goza, and I'm like
What's the right way to pronounce that?
goza. I
Goza?
think
We say
but people
goza.
say-
We say goes too. Yeah.
yeah.
Go say. Go see. I don't know.
Goze,
Goose?
goose is
Goose.
another way I've heard it pronounced.
I'm just
so I
gonna
don't
start
know.
calling it the goose.
The goose beer. That one.
Say.
That goose beer.
But really, my all year round, all the time is Shiner Bock. I know it's so Fury hates it. But like if I don't know what I want, it doesn't matter what time of year, I'm gonna pick up a 6-pack of Shiner because it's just so easy.
Oh, by the
I
way,
like
you'd
it.
be proud
That's
of me.
good
I had a
stuff.
Guinness for the first time over the weekend.
You had a Guinness? What?
For the first time.
First time?
Yeah, no, I've never had like a Guinness stout. I tasted it at the beer festival.
Nice. All right.
What'd you think?
Not care for it.
On nitro or no?
It was the nitro can.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, wasn't crazy about it.
So we do an episode about nitros, and we actually use the Brooklyn or the Breckenridge
Breckenridge.
Yep. because I
what's
couldn't
that
find
for?
anything else in the store that had both the non-nitro and the nitro of the same beer.
Oh yeah.
So we tasted the non-nitro Breckenridge vanilla porter
Mm-hmm.
and then the nitro Breckenridge vanilla porter. It's a different experience. I also listened one of your more recent episodes where you talk about the difference between, was it you guys? Between Guinness
Ireland?
in Ireland and yeah.
Yep.
Between getting it like in country. I've heard that before, and then you guys were commiserating
Yeah.
or corroborating that
Is it really different?
it's so different.
Is it?
Well, so the person we had on was Chris, right? Was that his?
Yeah, Chris McCaffrey.
Chris.
Yeah.
When I got him on the show, I had no idea that he actually worked for Guinness. I didn't know that. That's not why I booked him on the show. But yeah, he dropped that while we were recording that I work for Guinness. I'm like, oh shit. Well, now I got like 15 other questions for you. And so we brought that up, and he played it off like that's a common misconception. There is no difference. I can tell you from my own taste buds, been over to Ireland a couple times now, there's a difference. When I'm here in the U.S., I don't drink Guinness. But when I'm in Ireland, I drink it like it's water. Like I drink it all the time over when I go to Ireland. So there is a difference.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I totally agree. It's it's all I went over there with Adam for a few days, and it literally for 3 or 4 days, that's all I drank. Other than like
Chad, Gina just corrected you. Adam and Gina.
Yes, Gina was there too.
Gina was there too.
Leave her out.
Yeah.
Gina, did you also feel that was a different thing?
Oh, she's
Yeah.
back on.
Yep, I agree. So we had Guinness previous to going to Ireland, and I wasn't a huge fan. Like I'd had it. Adam's like, I love pouring this nitro. I was like, it's all right. I wouldn't take. Yeah.
It's pretty,
it's more
but it's not.
exactly. You know, as a woman, I'm like, oh, it's really pretty how it pours into the can. But once you
That
taste
reverse
it, I'm like,
cascade.
I'm okay with taking 2 sips and setting it aside and going on to something else I like to drink better. But when we went to Ireland, I have to tell you, I was like, when Adam had come back from his previous trips, I remember his first trip to Ireland. He was like, "Oh my God, I love Guinness. I'm all obsessed with Guinness." He stopped at the liquor store on the way home from Ireland to bring Guinness home. That's how much he was like, "Guinness has changed my life."
Well, no. Mainly, I was wanting to compare.
Yeah.
I just got off the plane, so I
Right.
knew it'd be
And it
fresh
was
in my mind
amazing.
what
You
it
had to
tasted like
taste
over
it
there.
now.
I wanted to see what it was like here.
Yeah. But when we went to Ireland, we got off the plane, we went to the hotel, we dropped our stuff off, and we all went to get something to eat. And, the waitress is like, "What do you want to drink?" And Adam and Chad are like, "Guinness." And I'm like, Guinness.
Whatever.
And it tastes amazingly different. Now,
Wow.
the guy you can say that it's like something that some type of mental notation that you have or perception that you have, like I'm getting it here. They use they use copper piping rather than aluminum. Like the keg is closer to like the tap, so the beer's not sitting in like the tubing as long. Whatever you want to say, like you can chalk it up to whatever. But Guinness in Ireland versus Guinness in the U.S., there is no differentiation. Guinness in Ireland is far better.
I'm really fascinated by that because you mentioned the taps and like how they serve their beer. I mean, of course, the things affect flavor. I mean, they just do. Like if you have an acidic, even a slightly acidic substance running through some metal, you're gonna get.
Well, and even in Ireland, Guinness still sends inspectors, I guess you want to call them, out to the pubs to make sure they're serving it correctly.
Draft lines
on a regular basis that the nitro is correct and it's and I don't know if they do that in the US.
I
mean that widget just can't control the way that like a nitro pour at a tap can.
And if you talk to an Irishman, I mean I have like 5 people on my team that are from there, so and they told me, it's like, don't get the fucking widget. Like the widget is shite. Like don't get the widget. Like if you're gonna get Guinness, get it out of the bottle. That's when it tastes the best. So I tried that too.
Yeah.
The reason I picked it up on the way home to the airport because I wanted to remember what it tasted like there and have it as soon as I got home. And she'll tell you, I walked in the door, put the 6-pack on the counter, cracked it, poured it, drank it. I was like, no, shit, And I put the rest in the fridge and we probably dumped it, but
I can't wait to try it out myself one day.
Yeah, and I did try it out of the bottle. It's a little better, but it's not the same. I mean,
fascinating.
Chris did say that if you're going to buy it, buy out of the bottle. He wasn't a big fan of the widget, if I remember correctly.
See, I thought it was the opposite. I thought he said the widget was. I thought he was the widget.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right.
Because I remember him saying that. And I'm thinking, but yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah, he was a fan of the widget.
Yeah,
but yeah, if you ever get a chance, I mean,
I'm part Irish. I go to Ireland.
I am a whole lot Irish.
I'm a good chunk Irish.
The Guinness tour was cool. We did the
Yeah.
Guinness tour. I mean, that whole side of town. If you haven't read the history of Guinness, it's a really interesting history about how he started everything he did. But
I
that
really
was really
just
interesting.
I really just have like the history from the widget on because they were the first to make that
Yeah, do something
nitro
like that.
thing a thing. And so when we talked about nitro versus non-nitro, Guinness was, of course, I think they patented it in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually used it until later, but they had kind of developed the technology to offer like a packaged nitro experience.
Yeah. I mean,
And since
Arthur
then, of course,
Guinness
many
was
people have copied them.
he did a lot. I mean, he was the first one to offer like health plans where he had doctors and stuff on the Guinness plant, so
Oh,
like his
yeah,
employees
yeah.
could go to the doctor. Like
Yeah.
he was the first like to kind of do a minimum wage type thing. Like he had all this. I mean, there's a whole section around the Guinness.
He housed all of his employees.
Yeah, he has housing, and that's still now
Nice.
today. Those are like apartments that people live in, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're little like row apartments, But he built houses for all of his employees so they'd have
Yeah.
a place to live. Like he was the first one of the first in that time. It was unheard of. You
Yeah.
didn't give a
That's
crap about your
interesting. I
employees.
wonder, like, timeline wise, I think of the expansion of the US and like railroad companies used to do the same thing, right? They would have railroad towns and they would build housing. Oil companies used to do the same. They'd build housing. But I wonder, I would be really intrigued to see the historical timeline for that.
There's a really good book. It's called Of God and Guinness. And
Oh, okay.
That's a really good book about the whole history of Guinness. So that's really
I'm
good.
making a note.
It's a good book. Good book.
Cool.
Now, what was your ABV question?
Oh, well,
If it's below 10%, Jake wants nothing to do with it.
so that's really interesting to me because this has come up more recently. This chasing of the high ABV. So we did an episode about session ales where we talk about like what that means and kind of the history behind where session came from, what that is designated as. I think in the US a session is anything below 6%, but historically I think it's been below 5%. And I'm really intrigued because I feel like some people this comes down to like a philosophy of drinking or philosophy of beer. Don't get me wrong. Some of my very, very favorites are the barrel-aged imperial stouts that are 14%. That's my shit. Pour that up in a sniffer and like let me sip on it for an hour and I am happy. Oh, I'm so happy. But there are so many days I get home from work. I just want a beer. I don't give a shit. And I don't want to get drunk before I go to bed. I just want to have something light and easy. So I'm intrigued by this idea of chasing the ABV. And I wonder how important is that? So Jake, I know based on the shit they're giving you, like that ABV is like a thing that's like the first thing you look for. For me, it's never the first thing I look for, but I'm curious, how important is ABV to you?
Well, we just real quick before Jake, we give him shit because I think last season or late season 1, he would always equate ABV to the price. So
Okay.
he won't pay X amount of dollars if the ABV is too low.
This is like a value thing.
Okay, I get
Right.
it. Yeah,
There's
more
value
bang
for
for your buck
cost.
kind of thing.
I'm not going to pay $12 for a beer if the ABV is 4%. Like that's not worth it.
Okay, I get that.
So, and he's always the one that speaks up real quickly and was like, ABV is too low. No thanks.
Now I have a friend, so the same friend, Roman, he made that point to me at one point. He was like, if I am broke, I want a
More bang
13%.
for my buck.
If I'm going to pay $6 for a beer, $8 or $10, like give me all the alcohol I
Right.
can get in that beer.
Yeah, I can't pound beers in a row if I'm broke.
I mean,
Yeah.
I absolutely am drinking beer for the quality and the taste and the flavors and the complexity and the balance. That's all true.
Yeah.
But, like a fine bottle of wine, a fine bottle of whiskey, bourbon, scotch, vodka, whatever it is, you're not going to buy something you're not going to pay a lot of money for something that's not also going to, do other things for you.
Do the job. Yeah.
What do you mean by other things? I don't understand. Explain that.
I'll be the first to
Do your
admit, like,
laundry,
I don't just drink for
your
taste. I drink for a buzz. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that the actual the trend is to go lower ABV. We've seen it happen with some of our favorite beers, some of our favorite breweries. They don't want their patrons or potential consumers to be like, well, I like that beer, but I'm only going to drink it on a special occasion when I have somebody over. So I'm going to buy this other beer that I could drink on a Wednesday night and still go to work the next day. They don't want to isolate those people from buying their stuff. So I actually think the market's going lower ABV.
That's a trend for sure.
But
I
yes,
think people want to drink all day.
yeah, I get it. I think it helps if you start sessionable, work your way in, or if you just pepper a 10% every like 3 or 4. Depends how long you're drinking for, I guess.
every 3 or 4.
Yeah, it depends. Or you know what? Those are the great beers. Like I used to save them way too much. Like I still have a Cheshire Chest in the basement. But those are great beers to share, and I don't save as much. As soon as anybody's over that likes that beer, I'm like, let's pop it open. Let's go ahead. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm not very good. I think Chad, you mentioned you're not good at saving beers.
Nope.
Only because I have
alcohol does not last long in Chad's house.
Yeah, not long
only
at
because
all.
I have like 18 billion cases of beer right now. Do I think I might have
most of them
a
won't
problem
last
on my hands
very long.
But generally speaking, I'm kind of the same. I don't tend to save beers. Like
I do.
I have 2 right now that are maybe 2 months old that I bought from a local brewery. They're barrel aged saisons. One's a tequila barrel. One.
Oh, that sounds good.
And I don't want to. Like I like to drink them. Sometimes there's the same brewery that you were talking about where you got the pineapple upside down cake. They do a bunch of really weird fun beers. I like them because they're pretty well balanced, even though they're weird. And like I have a thin mint stout, for example, in my fridge right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty wild, but it's not so sweet that you can't drink it.
Is that Southern Tier or is that local?
No, it's Buffalo Bayou Brewing.
Oh.
Honestly,
Southern Tier makes a thin mint when it's
really,
really
I
good.
love their creme brulee stout from a couple years ago. I don't know if they still make it, but
I like Southern Tier generally.
Yeah.
So Buffalo Bayou is a local place, and they just do weird shit, and some of it's like pastry stout style, but they never do it so sugary that you can't get past it. You can just like enjoy it. But I'm similar. I won't save a thing. I like to drink it when I have it. I like to do the thing. But I also don't chase ABV. Like, really, sometimes I just want to be out on a beach and drink kind of all day. I want to be able to just like kind of always go back to the cooler and pick up something without being shit-faced by the end of the day. And I find it interesting because it's a very disparate train of thought, and people seem to fall into those two camps of like,
other.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
you go for the 13% or do you pick up the there's one from St. Arnold's that I am obsessed with that's 3%. It's almost like not drinking alcohol, but it's so good.
What
It's
is
so
that?
good.
Functional. You're just going for functional.
Yeah, for sure.
So, have any of you guys ever had those BrewDog like Sink the Bismarck or Tactical Nuclear Penguins that
I
are
was
like
gonna say the penguin
freeze
one.
distilled to like 40% or anything?
I've seen them, but I have
No.
not picked
Yeah,
them.
What's the snake venom we talked about that was
Yeah, like
40%?
55. Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
was
the-
something
this
percent.
close to getting one, but they sold out of it on New Year's Eve before I got it.
It's like
And
a
I've never found
$40
anybody-
taster.
I was gonna say it's like
Had
isn't it
it.
like it's super expensive.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, it was
bottles.
like $20 for a 2-ounce pour of it.
Yeah.
But I just
2
wanted
ounce.
to try it because like and you never see it.
Yeah.
But they had both of them. There was an IPA and there was a stout that had been freeze distilled, and they were like 30 or 40% ABV or something. I was like,
Wow.
I really want to try this.
Ooh, that's like
I never
drinking
got to.
moonshine.
Uh,
You just like throw that shit back. Ooh.
I've yet to find anybody that's ever actually had it. So
Yeah.
always ask, always looking.
Speaking of moonshine, I think I'm gonna open mine up tomorrow. It's game day, so
Ooh.
Oh,
I'm gonna
what?
pop open some moonshine.
Is it
tomorrow.
just straight
Game
moonshine or
day.
do you do the flavored kind?
cherry moonshine?
Okay,
Ooh,
nice.
that sounds good.
I'm a big fan of the like apple pie one.
Mhm.
So on the next episode, Chad's gonna be blind, but
All right, he doesn't need to see to talk.
right,
right.
exactly.
That's
No
right.
big deal.
Well, I realize we've been talking for forever. I don't mean to like. This has been great. I've really enjoyed it. I just feel like we've totally overwhelmed your YouTube.
No, not at all.
No, I mean,
it's
That's what it's
totally
all
fine.
about.
totally
Yeah.
fine. We always worry about being respectful of the guest's
guest
time.
Yeah.
So
No, we're
If it's-
loving this. This is great.
awesome.
Gina's now on the floor falling asleep.
Oh,
So,
Gina, no.
I don't know. she's like, she laid down. She's like, I'm so tired. But
so
your
hurt.
headphones are still in. She can still hear you, but she's on.
That's
the floor,
okay.
so-
My boyfriend just texted me. He was like, "Babe, sorry, I can't talk tonight. I have to go to bed now." I was like, okay, fine.
And I don't know what happened to Jake. Jake just disappeared too. So.
He just went away.
He
I'm
fell
assuming
asleep too.
I'm assuming Brittany's still passed out on the couch because I haven't heard from her yet. So
I have to carry her to bed.
After a bottle and a half of wine, I'd be passed out too.
Welcome back, Jake. Thanks for
Hey,
joining
no,
us.
he's
Jake.
back.
Realize that these
Oh, here we go.
Gina.
I just realized that these Revolution beers we've been drinking tonight, this Midwest Hero and this Northwest Hero, have like a 7%.
yeah.
Oh.
So I was like, I'm feeling really relaxed and
What
like
do
the day is really settling in on me at this point. So we were talking about ABVs, are you chasing them? And I'm with you. Like, I love the barrel aged stuff. Like, I get mad when these guys open up these barrel aged beers and they don't share them with me or let them.
No.
Like, I'm watching the podcast or I see it
Share.
after the
When
fact.
does that happen?
Unacceptable.
Only sometimes. But like, Chad
All the
opened a
time.
Wolf, last week, and I was like, motherfucker, you're in. Like, you opened a Wolf.
How
Like, you're
dare
not even
you?
bringing it. Like, you should share that stuff. And Jake is always, actually, these guys are so great. They always share their beers, and they mostly always let me know. But
But
I
when
love
they
a good-
don't,
when
The
they don't, I
shared
get
beer is
And when
the
they don't,
pissed.
I hear about it.
I
So.
get pissed. I'm like, what? I just watched the podcast. I'm like, you opened that last night? You didn't even let me know. Me and Jake, you opened Revolution. You didn't even let me know you're open to Death
We got
Star.
more in the basement.
I know. Second
Oh my
shelf
god, they have
stuff.
basements.
Yeah.
Basements. That's an
They don't have those in
concept.
Yeah, you don't have
That's
those
a
in
Midwest
Texas.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a Midwest
Basements
thing
aren't
for
a thing.
We
sure.
just have attics if you're
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah.
beer in the attic.
Yeah,
no, that's
I'm-
a terrible idea.
I
That
I
would
no
not be good.
longer, There was a time when I first moved to Houston. I was younger. I was many other things, but I would often open a bottle of wine or a bomber of a really strong beer on my own on like a weekend, and I would just hang out on like a Friday or Saturday night in my apartment and get nice and toasted and feel like
I do
not
that on
bad. I
Friday
was always
mornings.
very happy that the beer was all to myself. I didn't have to share it with anyone.
Chad, I do that on Friday mornings.
That's Friday morning beer review for
Oh,
me.
that's right. Yeah.
12%
See?
Friday morning. Hell yeah.
I have to go to work on Friday.
I do too.
I was younger then. it didn't matter as much. I would often have sometimes like phone dates with my friend in California where we would both I would open a bomber and she'd open a bottle of wine and we'd like just shoot the shit on the phone for hours and get drunk and have a great time because I was still new to town. I didn't really know many people, but I was getting to know the city by the beer. I find that it's such a cool community. It's such a great way to get to know a place. It's so regional, it's so specific, and yeah, I mean, chasing beer led me to quite a few different places in my life where I got to meet these awesome people and have this community of my own. It wasn't around beer, but it's because of it that I got to find that. And I think that's really special of anything. Derby is the same way.
Mhm.
Like any of those things that you share like a common passion for. I appreciate that about beer. And I love it that now women are finding that voice and finding those places to share that with each other and to feel more confident in it and more like they can own that space a little bit and like approach it without fear of, I don't know, like judgment, I guess.
Yeah. Feeling stupid, feeling belittled.
Ridicule.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, have
judge
you-
on it.
You probably have. I feel like you share all the, Adam, especially I know you do the Twitter stuff a lot, but you share a lot of the articles that come out. But there was one maybe a month ago that was a study came out that showed that women who drink beer in public are like seen as I don't know if I'd say less desirable, but like quote unquote easier.
Isn't that when you
And
shared with me?
I
The,
may
list
have.
of reasons you should date a girl that.
Oh,
drinks
that
beer.
was
Oh, no,
totally
that's something
different.
Okay,
Oh
never
God,
mind.
that was a totally different thing.
Let's move on past that.
Oh, that was real bad. Some guy wrote an article
Louise?
about. Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. They changed it after Beer Twitter got in a real uproar. They dropped it down from 7 things to 5 things to love
Was it
about
this
a.
one?
Yeah,
Yes!
that was the first
Less
one I was
human.
talking about. Yeah,
Just,
holding a
that
beer.
headline, less human. What the?
Yes.
fuck?
What
Are
the
you
hell?
kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah, it makes you seen as an
I don't
object
remember this
and not
article. I
a
don't
person.
think I read this one.
Yeah, that was brutal to read. As a woman who
Yeah,
drinks beer
holy
regularly
crap.
on her
I'm
own.
an alien.
Whatever man would think that was already looked at a woman like an object.
But
Yeah.
this
Oh,
is
absolutely.
written by a woman though.
Nuh-uh.
Well,
But
Well-
she's just citing studies. Like she's just looking at
That- yeah,
like
yeah,
what's
yeah.
already been studied.
Okay.
And yeah, that was it. Fuck. Yeah, that was a hard one to read.
I was upset at the 7 reasons you should date a girl that drinks craft beer, and one of them was like
Only-
she's DTF.
Yeah,
Like, no.
she's down to fuck.
She is
was
not.
one of the
Are you
reasons.
serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was
Yeah.
really hard to read.
Yeah.
It was very confusing too because that was the headline, like why to love a woman who drinks beer. But then it spent most of the article tearing apart women who drink beer, saying they only drink it to be one of the guys. That was a whole section of it. Like that was one of the numbers. They only drink it to be one of the
Jeez.
guys. Or if they drink beer, it's only Bud Light or Coors Light. Or
Yeah.
the only part that could be agreed with, but was also infuriating was except for the craft beer girl. Of course, they use the word girl as many times as
Girl.
they could in the
Right,
article.
girl. Yeah.
there's that word again.
But even then, it was almost like they talked about the craft beer girl as this kind of better than thou, like, snob instead of
It's like a
just a
regular
person
girl
who
that
likes beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff in this article is like researchers concluded that women pictured with beer was viewed as more sexually available, as well as quote less human
Yep.
than women drinking water. Water, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Meaning she was seen as superficial, less intelligent, and lacking in self-restraint. A bottle of beer picture with a man did not lead to the same dehumanizing effects. Notably, the biases were present in both male and female study participants. As a woman who drinks beer in public, yeah, she's saying that
Yeah,
to
so
me is
Women
less
view
human.
women who drink beer the same way as men who view women drinking beer. Like,
That's some bullshit right there.
it is some very internalized patriarchy, if I
Misogyny.
may say so.
Wow.
Like misogyny, like very internalized female misogyny. It's a thing. I mean, you're raised to view yourself a certain way, and so to view other women that way too.
But at some
That's
point,
a
you
real
got at
shame.
some point you have to grow up and gain some self realization and
Yeah.
realize that just because you grew up one way or were taught something one way, it's not always that way.
Everybody also wasn't taught that way.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah, the way you were taught to what I was taught were two totally different worlds. It doesn't mean my way was right. It's like it's just, that's a frustrating article. Thanks for
And it
pointing that
doesn't
out to
mean
me.
you change. I think people hold on so much to an identity they developed when they were 18. And that's when you just
Or younger.
Yeah, and you just don't
12.
know enough about
Yeah.
the world. You haven't experienced and
Yeah.
this idea and well, this gets into like professional development shit, but it's like a difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. A growth mindset is really about no, there's more about the world to learn. And sometimes our preconceived notions, the ways we were raised, what we've been taught, we sort of realize, oh, no, there's a whole world outside of that probably has more value. And we can then reevaluate how we thought of things. And instead of invalidating our whole experience, which is, I think, what people react to, they think if they change their mind, they're suddenly saying, I wasn't that. Like, it's somehow invalidating who they are instead of giving them the value of saying, oh, I can grow. I can say, wow, I had this one experience. We have a cat drinking beer. I'm sorry. This is a very
Go for
serious
it. That's
conversation.
great.
And then there was a cat drinking.
Yeah.
Go for a cat.
But we can say,
I'm afraid of the beer farts. I'm afraid of the beer farts if I let my dogs drink beer. That would be just nasty.
He likes it.
He does like it. Oh, beautiful boy. Yeah, but we can change. We can grow. We can say, I held this belief before, and I've learned more about the world, and I've seen more, and I can say that belief should change now. And that's okay. It doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean falseness. It means you've grown, you've learned, you've changed. And that's hard for people. It's just hard. It's hard.
It's definitely hard for people.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Adam and I do another podcast. Well, we've done another podcast. It's all about religious indoctrination.
Oh, I would be fascinated to listen to that. I'm super into cults.
There's a few episodes out there we haven't recorded for a
one
long
for a
time.
But it's been quite a while. But yeah, it's all.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, maybe that's too much for a beer podcast. But I would love to listen to that.
I'll send you the link of the few episodes we have out there. Maybe someday we'll get our shit together enough to actually record another one. But
yeah.
We're it's amazing. We both work from home and we're both as lazy as fuck. So
If I didn't have to put on pants to go to work, I would be lazy too.
I've been wearing the same shorts, not underwear, same shorts, at least for a week.
No underwear.
Thanks
No
for
underwear.
clarification.
Yeah.
TMI, guys. TMI.
Yeah, no, both my wife and I work from home, so people are always like, "How are you guys still married?" It's because we text each other all day, even though we're an office apart. Like, we don't
It's
actually
good to have
talk
your
to
own
each other.
space. That's good.
Yeah, it works.
Oh yeah.
Oh, pig.
Well, Alewives, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been
Thank
a
you, guys.
great podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, Gina's like, tell them I love them and I wish they lived closer. I'm going to bed.
Oh, we love you too. It's been so great to have another female voice. Thanks, guys, so much. We really appreciate it.
I will say my wife
Wow.
has a very hard time finding women that like beer. So whenever we have a woman on that loves beer, she's like all over, like, yes, let me hear the bottle again.
Yes.
So.
I
Well,
love
next
it.
time I have to come up to Milwaukee area for work, I will let you guys know. We can
Definitely.
Yeah,
beer.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes, that'd be
For
great.
sure.
Be awesome.
All right, we'll do the outro here, then hang with us 1 second here.
Sure.
Yeah, cool.
We're the three best friends that anyone could have. We're the three best friends that anyone can have. And we're always gonna hang out.